Hey everyone, what's up? It's Dave. Before we get started, I just wanted to say I wasn't sure this episode was going to be able to come out. I recorded it more than a year ago. Those guys all managed to get together here at my place, and I just didn't have the recording set up to handle 5 people talking. I didn't have that equipment. I used the same setup that I used for recording 2 people talking, and they were all having to lean in, and as you can see in the picture how they're situated around the microphone, you know, it's hard to hear some of them, and sometimes they're talking over each other or at the same time, and people that are quieter get lost in that, and it's very hard to turn up their volume partway through a sentence. I did what I could. I went through, I cleaned up the audio. I think it's listenable. It's a good, long, fun conversation covering a lot of hardcore history, some stories we haven't gone over, some potential good news about the future, although I don't know where that sits now a year out from the conversation, to be honest, and you'll know from listening to this episode what I'm talking about. So we're just going to get into it, and it is what it is. Turn it up loud, and then I'm sorry for the times when the uproarious laughter blows out your eardrums, but then you'll at least be able to hear Damien talk quietly in the background. All right, let's get this thing going.
Here we go.
Well, the day has finally come. I got everyone in Undertow in the same room. They're all sitting here in front of me. They have one microphone because I'm poor and can't afford a lot of equipment, but here they are in the room right now. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Every member of the band that is here has done an episode, at least one episode of the podcast. In some cases, multiple episodes of the podcast. So you can go back and listen to all of those, but today we're going to be able to have them all here. So we've got Ryan Murphy, Mark Holcomb, John Pettibone, Damian Johnston.
That's us.
Start talking. Why are you all here in town? What's going on?
Well, I live here.
So do I.
Me too.
That was a great usual suspects kind of answer.
I'm on vacation.
Okay, so it's really just one of you
Sort of.
comes to town and then you get together. But you all caused speculation for a reason for you to be together. Is there a reason for that you guys are you doing something?
Maybe.
We had lunch.
I couldn't make it too.
Yeah. Clevo sat in for Damien.
Clubos, oh really?
Yeah.
Hold on. What
2
was,
hours.
oh wait, we haven't even gotten to that question yet. There's a question about that coming up. It'll make sense as it goes.
Right on.
Okay, no, John, you teased some stuff. I'm editing your episode right now. It hasn't gone up live, but you were teasing some kind of...
We're going to get together and jam.
Yeah, and that's legit?
Sure. Legit.
And you're all cool with people knowing that?
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Care.
Yeah.
Sweet. Are you going to be called Undertow?
No.
But you guys are going to do a band.
Yes.
Yeah.
Solidly. Everyone's... Okay, I just want... Just so it's definitive so people can know what to expect.
I bought a bass.
There you go.
Oh, you've
Now
bought
we
it.
have to.
You have bought equipment for this endeavor.
I did.
All right.
$200 bass.
I would say you heard it here first, but I'm sure you didn't hear it here first. What was it, $200 bass?
On credit, yeah.
Awesome.
I did that once. It was terrible. Okay, so yes, it's odd since it feels like you guys are all going to be competing for that mic. But what's going on? Tell me what's going on in your lives, guys.
Ryan?
Yeah, I don't know. I still live in fucking St. Louis. I'm recently going through a divorce, but it's all good. Life's looking better, and yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things, a big transition in your life. I switched careers last fall. I'm like, now I'm single, and I have more time on my hands. So, I find myself training jujitsu a lot more, running more, and missing music more.
Oh.
So,
Are you moving out here?
no, not anytime soon.
But you're going to travel back and forth.
We can get into my 12-year plan later.
Oh,
I got a 12-year plan.
Sweet.
So it's complicated because I have a kid. I can't just up and leave.
Right.
I mean, I guess I could, but that would be really shitty. So, anyways, yeah, I don't know. I was like, we all keep in touch, and we group text. Like, we're still really good friends. And I was talking to Mark about this, last night, and we're just like talking. It's like, this is I'm just gonna talk. You guys can totally disagree, but so. Everyone, every band basically is getting back together, and for whatever reason, whatever their motivation is, it doesn't matter. But and whatever people's opinion might be, whether it's shitty, it's lame, it's awesome, it doesn't matter. But with us, it's like, we've done the Undertow reunion things, and I think the last time we played, speaking for myself, it's like, that wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be, right? And so it's like, you can't recreate what you had. Like, no one can. I mean, there are plenty of bands out there still doing it that were doing it in the 80s, hardcore bands. And, yeah, they're not recreating what they had then. I'm sorry. They're not. And I won't name names, but, whatever. But what we can't deny is we're still really good friends, and we love each other. And, we still love playing music. We love music, and and the idea of like just doing something new, but with us and our friendship again, it might sound just like Undertow. Who knows? I don't know.
What the listening audience can't see are the nodding heads while you're speaking, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's good radio.
So, anyways, it's not about trying to recreate Undertow. It's really about like just remaining friends, having fun, and seeing what happens. Like, really, that's how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
100%.
No pressure. Just
See what happens.
fucking get in the room and play again. See what comes of it.
I'm very excited about this, and I'm sure a lot of other people are going to be also. Do you have any? I mean, you're not doing this for a specific upcoming show. You'll just play when you're ready.
maybe.
We might not even play.
Yeah,
You
we're
never
gonna get in the room.
Oh, you're gonna Fugazi it. You're gonna tell people, Fugazi still gets together and plays. We just do it for ourselves. We won't play live
not?
anymore.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, it got reported a while back that Fugazi, those dudes just get together because they just like each other and they just play.
That's
but
pretty awesome.
It's awesome. But then every Fugazi fan in the world is probably like, well, that's not fair,
It's not for them.
That's right.
right? Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I ain't entitled to shit.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
give me a minute.
Uh-oh.
And we're back. Sorry. I stupidly left a cup of water by my feet, kicked it over, and apparently John thinks I had too much ice in the cup.
That's a lot of ice in that cup. But
impressive amount of
Damien made it obvious that the ice had fallen out in the shape of the cup.
Oh yeah, it all stuck together. Sure. Oh, whatever. I was hoping
Where were we?
I was hoping I was gonna get a picture of you guys laughing. So, well, no, Murph, you guys were just explaining what was going on with you guys playing together. Is there more you want to say about that?
Nah, if there was, I forgot.
Sorry to kill the momentum, but I'll just leave that out there as a tease for people. They know it's coming. Since I have you all here, okay, so I did a thing yesterday where I went online and asked people what questions they would ask if they were doing a podcast with the four of you at the same time. But we'll get into that in a little bit. What I want to ask the four of you is, having listened to each other's episode of this podcast, is there anything anyone wants to correct anybody on, or point, or like, did anyone listen to something and remember something that didn't get brought up? The real end to a story, anything like that? That
You could all
that
correct
we
probably mine because
that we can reveal in the podcast, because I'm
If
sure
there
there's
was, I
some
can't
stuff you
remember at
don't
this
want
point.
to.
I'm sure there was little things where I was like, actually, that was 10:07 or something.
Yeah.
There might have been little things like that, but at this point, I can't remember.
I didn't know Murph liked The Cure. I was like, there's no way
That's
Murph likes
true.
The Cure. And then you're like, I'm a fan. I was like, damn it.
That was
like
that was a little bit of a shocking moment. Yeah.
I fucking love them.
And I like your guys' conversation of like, it was the babysitter, Fucking cool, man. So there are little things like that where I was like,
That's
oh.
exactly what I'm talking about.
And I think you asked me how me and Murph met, and I didn't remember, and you were right about when Murph said the Jane's Addiction t-shirt.
The walk.
Walking down the street,
I was
right?
like, oh, yeah. And me and Murph worked together at Angelica Kitchen.
You forgot?
Yeah, we were hanging out last night. Well, a couple days in a row. And he
Wait,
was
where did you work together?
at this restaurant in New York City with like the bass player of Texas Reason. Like a lot of people came out of there, actors, a good group of people. Vegan restaurant. They always hired the punk rock kids, the dancers, the actors, people that needed to dip out for 3 weeks because they got a project. And Murph was like, yeah, remember when we worked there together? And I was like, huh? And he's like, dude, I worked there for like 3-4 months with you. I was like, no, you didn't. And then in my wheelhouse, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, and he was naming names like the head chef and our the other guy Dexter. And I was like, well, clearly he worked there. Like, he wouldn't remember Dexter's name if he didn't work there. So memories are shitty.
Yeah.
No, it's weird, and I definitely when I'm editing, I get a chance to hear, and most of every podcast that gets recorded goes up, but there's a lot of like hemming and hawing that gets cut out in between while people are trying to remember stuff, just because I don't think everyone wants to listen to that. But I'm surprised at the things sometimes that I have to put on the web pages. Every episode has its own page on the website, and it's a lot of times there's corrections on there, or I've put them at the end of the episode in the talk that I do at the end, where I'm ashamed of myself for not remembering details while while it's going down. Did you ever get a definitive answer on that cult song, Mark?
No, and I was just thinking about that right now. Like, again, we should have listened to the song before it
You
comes
think
in.
well, I mean, it's
I
been
think
covered
it's
pretty
Move It
well.
Go.
Move
I
It
think
Go.
Move It Go, but I sent a boogado to JC from Sparkmarker yesterday, or Father's Day. Yeah.
Send a boogado,
Yeah. I was like, hey, man,
you
happy
get a-
Father's Day, boogado.
and you get a
Yeah,
response.
it's fucking hearts and boogado back to you, brother.
There's a
better that
point where you don't want to find out the truth.
Yeah, it's just better that way at this point.
I mean, it still cracks me. Anytime I listen to that song, I'm like, I'm still waiting. Like, I'm waiting, so excited for that. Whatever he says to come up, I'm like, oh, this always cracks me up.
Well, I went and watched the video because of that, and I wait for that part in the video to see if he, I think he's just doing something with the mic in front of his face and jumping or something at that point. So that's it.
With
I don't know. I was kind of hoping.
I don't remember.
I was
right?
I was really hoping that somebody would be like, the band historian that would go in there and be like, here's what you fucked up. Here's what you fucked up.
True.
I mean, if I just listened to him, I might come up with something. John's. I haven't heard the second half of John's. That hasn't gone up yet, right?
No, because it's
You don't need
3 hours and 45 minutes long.
I'll listen.
And half
And
of it's shit. I don't remember.
I
that.
think even after
It's
I
Dave
think
telling me the story.
I
I'm like, oh, that happened.
it's probably true, and it'll have been up for probably a month before this thing comes out, but it'll get edited down to about 3:15 probably. I think there were a couple points where we talked for a while.
Just like that movie we did.
You could almost watch that movie twice. Just like
do you guys talk about that in your?
the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if we talked.
We touch base.
I've still
Maybe
never
just
seen that
that-
movie.
Oh, dude, you
I've never seen it.
don't do it. Don't watch it.
I mean, I'm not trying to offend. I just never had a chance to see it.
In no way am I offended. But you kind of have this you're in this place where you could just imagine what it is, and never have to know.
Yeah, that's right. And in my mind, it's fantastic.
Oh well, thank you. See,
I know all these people that were in this movie. That's so cool. It's great. It was a great movie.
I feel like it's kind of my job to just hold the line on people's opinion on it. So if I can keep someone from watching it now, I think I keep the opinion higher. So. What do you got to say about it, Mark?
Oh, nothing, man. I don't know. Nothing. Love it.
No, there
My
were
queue right now.
Is it on Amazon?
you used to be able to get it through Netflix when they sent DVDs.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, do they still do that? Yeah. There was reviews. And the funny thing was, people would get it and not know what they were getting. And there'd be a horrible review. And then there'd be a beautiful review that was talking, and it's almost every beautiful review, you'd read it and you'd be like, well, I know who wrote that review. I know. It was always friends that were sticking up for you on there. I'm like, oh.
Awesome.
Pete, I got that.
Oh my god.
Well, there's one, I've mentioned this before. There's somebody who was in the movie who has trash talked the movie in every available forum online where you can leave a review of it.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of the people who was there in the Rumble scene, someone I didn't know very well who kind of just came along, one of the punk rockers. And like their review always talks about, they always come from Germany or like wherever, you know, and it always says like, the worst part about it is I'm in this piece of shit. I think I like it better that I get that those bad reviews are out there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So one of the Netflix ones definitely is that. So yeah, Eduquarrel. We should probably get some of these questions going because they might inspire some conversations. And actually,
That's cool you did that. That's a cool idea.
well, I kind of
Was it out of laziness?
I figured between no, I've done this with Matsuoka's before when I want to like, you know, try to get some other people kind of involved in it. But it was just that I figured that since I've done full episodes with you guys, I mean, if we told the story of the tour start to finish, you know, we wouldn't come up with one new story.
I got one.
But this is what I'm looking for. You got one that's not in any of the episodes?
Yeah, well, I don't think so. I don't know what you and Jonas did, but all of us in Bremerton.
We touch base.
Oh.
But that's not a tour. That's not in the tour.
No, but
No.
I mean, there's stuff.
We're all there, though. And
We were all there, and it was.
and we almost
We
died.
didn't really talk about just
What is this?
the van and the Nazi skinheads.
And the
Bremerton.
knives and the bottles.
In Bremerton. How would the four of you like to tell this story? And
I think they're
tell
too
it and project
went
when you
to-
do it.
Go play a show at a VFW hall in Bremerton, and there wasn't really shows going on over there at the time. And
I just remember we were
rolled
running
up.
late.
yeah,
Like we caught the ferry
caught
late.
the ferry late.
We were super late to the show. And for whatever reason, I just remember it was like, you know, it was one of those shitty, like, 2-lane, like, fucking roads, like, in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, you had to park on, like, the shoulder. And we were coming up and we saw a line of cars on the shoulder of the road. And, like, a little bit of, like, maybe some chaos happening, like, at the VFW hall. And I want to say it was Skippy or somebody that came running up and was just like, yo, there's fucking Nazis. And like we parked and I just remember like, I think I just like sat on top of the van watching like, this is cool. You know, like I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I do remember
The fight was already happening as you drove
driving
up.
Well,
yeah.
when we rolled up, there was tension, and you could tell
Well, yeah,
right
right when
away.
you get out of the
but
van,
there was a
some guy-
band. There was
Yeah.
a band playing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, right as we like pull up and open the door and get out of the van, like a dude walks by, so it's like, "Let's kill Undertow!"
Yeah, there was like 4 6'10" guys that were like, "We're gonna kick some straight edge ass tonight."
Oh.
And
And they walked right by us.
and then
Oh,
a
so they
kid-
didn't know it was you?
I don't think so.
No, I think they knew it was us because I remember being like, "Oh man, like what do we do? Like these guys are fucking giant, you know? I'm gonna get fucking creamed, you know?" And from my recollection, we're like, "Yeah, well, I guess let's get the gear out." And then all of a sudden, a kid goes running by, and a skinhead is chasing him. And I think he stole beer from the skinheads, is what my recollection was. And do you remember this? Like they circled off into like a fight thing. And I think you two got out of the van. One of you did. And Michelle was with us as well.
When you say you two, you were just pointing at
Murph and John.
Murph and John.
So they start fighting, and one of you guys
The
comes
group's
back.
fighting.
Yeah, the skinhead and the guy who stole the beer. But obviously tensions were, something was going to fucking happen. And I think the guy that stole the beer, or maybe one of his buddies, not a skinhead, pulled out like a fucking 10-inch blade.
sword or something.
Yeah. So somebody comes around. I'm in the van because I'm like, oh boy, I can't. I mean, I can't deal with this. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Looking for a fucking tire iron and shit, and your screwdriver, right?
Right.
And so then the mob goes into the club, and I think that's where definitely John or Murph went over and was looking through the window, and one of you guys reported it back to us because I think at this point I had Michelle with me. Me and Damien are in the van. I'm like, lock the fucking doors, you know, and what got reported back to me was like the fight moved all the way through the VFW hall and you could watch it through the window, but that some guy was beating up somebody and the girl came over and hit him across the face with a beer bottle, and then another girl picked up a chair and like smashed her with the fucking chair. From what I understood, it was chaos, and then all of a sudden you see the fight come out of the other side of the VFW hall. Like, it moved.
Oh, you saw it go from one door
Straight
and out
movie,
another.
Yeah, yeah. From
Stars are flying out.
left to right.
And there's a band. The band doesn't stop playing. Whatever band was playing in the
I want to say
VFW hall
Serenity, but
was
I don't know.
just kept playing
Awesome.
through the entire fight.
What
Yeah.
year was this?
This sounds like a
Would've
good
been
scene
before
for the
US
sequel to
tour, I think.
Eduquarrel.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Michelle, yeah, I want to say it was probably before the first you guys
Harbor.
toured in like 93,
Yeah.
92,
it's
somewhere in that
spring.
pocket.
Spring of '93.
Spring
Yeah.
of '93.
So then,
So I was probably working, couldn't make it out to where you guys were because I remember
it
hearing
was
about the
just us.
show and not being
It was
able
us
to
four
go.
and Michelle. Were the only
Yeah.
ones in the van.
and then, so the fight goes out the back, and it's still kind of going on. Whoever promoted the show to us comes running up and is like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like, should we cancel the show? Do you guys still want to play? And we're like, call the fucking cops right now. This show's over and people are getting
Well,
stabbed.
he was asking for help too. Like we were there to save the day or something. Like he was like,
Oh, thank God, the
"What do
straight
we
edges
do?
are here.
But can you guys help? Can you guys like stop the situation?"
I'm
We were just
5'4".
like,
I can't stop anything. Like, what's he thinking? But I also remember this, that it had dissipated or something. It was like the decision was like, show's over. Let's get the fuck out of here. And we turn over the van and it goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Do you guys remember this?
Yep.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're like, fuck, man, we need jumper cables now to get out of here. So
So fucked.
that was one of the stories that, like, it wasn't a tour, but it was like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that got told in any of the episodes. Maybe
I don't really
maybe
remember
touched
it.
on.
Well,
You don't remember? I
so
remember
then
you telling me about
I know
it.
it happened, and
We
I
got
know
the
I was
van
there, but
started.
I don't remember it.
We got the van started, and then we're getting the hell out of there. The van needed gas. We go to the gas station, and the Nazis are at the gas station buying more beer. And that's when me and Ryan were outside with the hammers, like, if they see... But they didn't even, like, really see us. They were just there to buy their beer again, and then... But we were like, the moment they see who... or recognize us, and it's just us and them. It's none of these other kids around. But they
Can I
saw us.
say that I'm glad it didn't happen to you, but hammer fight at the gas station would be a great story.
Amazing.
I think they actually beat up some people that night later on in the evening, just
Yeah,
random
right.
people, and they went to jail.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're probably doing something similar now.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah, totally.
Doing
Probably all
time.
fucking cops now.
And that's the
Or that.
was the typical Bremerton show. Like going over to Natasha's shows or whatever, or going over to play minus Lenny's Basements
Right.
shows. There was always
And people
a
said
brawl.
it was
and it was
because
always
of the
Ajax, like destroying all of them.
I love Ajax.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
I just remember thinking, like, I guess we've got to play, but there's going to be violence. Like, we are the band that gets up on stage and says, fuck you, we don't agree with you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So we're
you're
have
gonna get
to
up
do
and
that
write
the
shit on
side
your
in my-
arms.
You know, like, God, I'm so small. These guys are fucking giants. We could get stabbed. I mean, it was in my head, that was a real legitimate, they want to fuck us up, specifically. But we need to be the band that stands up for the other kids that are in that fucking room, because we're the straight edge band, or we're saying, fuck racism. We can't turn around and go home because we're scared of something. But I mean, those guys were fucking I'm glad. Man. I mean, can you imagine if, like, we were on stage and all of a sudden, those dudes had knives?
yeah.
That would have been bad, dude. That would have been real fucking bad. Yeah. We get up there and we're like, we're motherfucking Undertow, and fuck you guys. Oh, Jesus.
And meanwhile, you had heard them outside while they were hanging out near your van saying, "We're gonna kill Undertow."
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
We're gonna kick some fucking straight edge ass tonight, and maybe doing punching their fists in their hand. It was like, because I think you guys were definitely out of the van at one point. Because I remember, I just remember, like, I was like, lock the fucking doors. When those guys come back, we unlock them. But like, I just sitting there on the bench seat going, oh, dude, like, we can't play. Like, please let the show not happen. We gotta get out of here. I was fucking scared as fuck, man.
Well,
That was not good.
The question that I asked online, someone did. They just put Nazis with a question mark. Skiffington asked a bunch of questions, and that was his last one. So that covers that one at least. But
There was another.
that's what I was gonna.
The Nazis,
This is what I'm gonna ask. Were there any other stories about Nazis?
Outspoken in Undertow in Arizona.
Yeah.
Remember we got escorted out by the police out of Phoenix.
I only
This
remember
is
this 'cause you
before-
told
Before
me.
me.
It was before Damien.
Shit, yeah.
Wait, you had to leave Phoenix with a police escort?
Yeah.
Like they were kicking you
For
out
our
of the
safety.
Because this wouldn't be the first time
No,
police
it was
kicked you
for-
out of somewhere.
This one was legit for like Undertow and Outspoken safety.
Oh,
Like,
okay. They were actually
There was like
public servants
we
working
did,
for
like,
you.
a little West Coast thing with Outspoken.
Yeah.
And we played Phoenix, and there was Nazis there, like 3, but they're always like giants, right? So it's like might as well be fucking 12. And yeah, whatever. We talked shit. We're like, fuck you guys, Nazis suck, And they were like, well, we're gonna kill you and all this shit, like whatever. And I don't think anything. Ron was with us,
Yeah.
and I think that was
Bauer.
like that was
Bauer.
a time when I
Ron
think
and Bauer were two imposing figures in
We're
that.
in the we're in the
they
we're in the
would fight.
van.
Bauer
and
would fight.
we open the van door and like a baseball bat falls out and like the Nazis are like, oh, you guys want to fight? Like shit, it was almost totally taken care of and now it's starting again.
I feel like it might, well, whatever, my memory's shit, but I feel like we all got back upstairs and it was like, if again, who walks through the door is gonna get creamed, and I feel like Ron had the baseball bat,
Yeah.
and then I think it was the cops. I think the promoter called the cops because he knew some shit was going down, so it was the cops that came in the door. But Ron and Bauer and probably the outspoken guys too, because they were like grown men. Were like whoever fucking walks through the door.
Coyle was.
Yeah,
That's right.
whoever walks through this door, if they have a shaved head and they're wearing braces and boots, we're fucking throwing them off the third floor of the fucking. Because there's like a fire escape, I think, walking up.
It's something like
So
that. I remember I
forgot
had
about
like a cymbal stand, like as like a baseball bat ready to go, you know?
You can kill a deer with that.
That's right.
You remember that shit?
Can kill a deer with that.
Shit.
That's an actual story
That's-
also.
yeah.
But that tour, was that the tour of like fucking
That was in,
fights like almost every night?
Yeah, well,
Because that was the same tour that Ron
it
and
was
Ron
the
got, they tried to jump
Spanky's
Ron.
Vegan
Cafe.
Reich. Vegan Reich.
Yeah, Vegan Reich.
Vegan Reich. We got
Jump
your
Ron.
hat, your head's next.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fuck yeah.
explain that story. So if you
Spanky's Cafe.
Spanky's Cafe,
Undertow. Like
California.
that was a crazy show. I think that was that the first show we played with Unbroken? And we were like,
it was
holy
Unbroken's
shit.
first show.
Yeah, we were like, wow, they're fucking awesome, right?
Yeah.
And like Chorus played, and like that was
Statue.
Yeah,
That was
I got
a
photos
show-
in that
Yep.
book.
I'm like backstage setting up my drum kit, and I'm like wearing the long sleeve Morbid Angel shirt,
Yep.
right? And the drummer for Chorus is just this like fucking fat asshole. I don't know who he was, but he's like drinking a beer, and he's like, "Oh, that's funny. You're a straight edge kid wearing a Morbid Angel shirt." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's funny. Like you're a fat straight edge dude drinking a beer." and he was like, "Oh, you got me, good one," And I'm like, we're like, "What the fuck?" And so like us and Unbroken were like talking trash, like, "Dude, what's up with Chorus?" This is before we knew the Chorus guys, and they could actually like crush the shit out of us, like.
Legit boxers.
Yeah, and like Street Regis, like fucking
Yeah.
throwing us back to Seattle in one arm. But their drummer, like, he was just like some random dude, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a friend.
Yeah.
One of their friends that helped them or saved one.
Yeah,
of
so I
their
think
lives or
there was like a
something, and
little
needed drummer.
beef between Undertow and Chorus because of that for a little while. Like, it was fine. I think Sabatini helped squash that.
Yeah.
But-
oh, you did something useful.
yes.
There it is!
You're gonna sneak that fucking name into my podcast. We're gonna...
He's going to edit it.
But
No, I think it's. I don't know how to edit that out. I gotta tell that story's got to be in there.
Yeah.
So
but anyways, like one or two dudes from Vegan Reich were at the show, and
And that's when Ron was doing the overkill with the...
yeah, Ron
two
had a
guns.
whole
Yes.
anti-hardline
Yes.
campaign with Overkill Records, which was very inspiring at the time because Hardline came out with this. At the time, it was super vegan, but they had for some reason. I guess we don't see anything like this in politics anymore. They decided that it was unnatural to be gay, and that was part of their
right.
bullshit philosophy. So they just instantly started a
And they're super pro-life. And
right.
Oh, and exactly like
Yeah, I mean they're basically right wing fascists.
yeah,
you know,
alt-right
like,
before alt-right.
yeah, pretty much unapologetic to this day. I think for a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That section of the Straight Edge book, we were just talking about the Straight Edge book, is interesting to me because it was like an entire chapter written by people that I considered, as enemies.
The enemy.
And I'm reading it and like hearing how a lot of them reflected how they got into it. I can look back at it and I'll go, oh, okay. I see. I see. I mean, I think you were wrong, but like, I guess I get it.
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So
So we're playing.
yeah. Well, yeah, we were playing, and then like shit just went down with like Bauer and Ron and the Vegan Reich. dudes.
Right, because they were saying weren't they writing him and saying they were going to kill him
Yeah.
if you come to California, we're going to kill you. And
Yeah.
I believe Ron sent them back a letter that said, "I'm coming down with Undertow. Here's the dates."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the whole time we were there, I think Ron and Bauer were just kind of like, "Yo, where are these dudes at? Like we're fucking here."
Yeah. They try to jump Ron.
It did happen, right?
Crowd. Well, they tried to jump him.
They tried.
What?
I think
And-
it was like a sucker punch
Yeah.
scenario,
Yeah,
and then
and the guy-
Bauer just jumped in and
Now, the way I was told this story was that Bauer jumped up from behind Ron and pivoted on Ron's shoulder
Yep.
and came down. So if you imagine Bauer basically getting his waist at Ron's shoulder, so they're working as a team now. And so Bauer comes
Master
over
Blaster.
like a heavy.
Who run Bartertown?
Master Blaster run about town. Holy shit.
Oh God, I'm so happy. Yeah, it like swung on his shoulder, like not swung, like a teeter totter, and came down with the fist and hit the guy, whoever it was in Ron's face. And I've only been told this story, but John, you're shaking your head and saying yes, that happened. You saw it.
Yeah, we were on stage playing right when it happened.
Fantastic.
And we stopped because it's them. And then you see dudes run out of the club and Ron and Brian chasing them.
Yeah,
We
and-
jump off stage and are following suit.
and the Chula Lynch mob was there too,
Yeah,
and they were
we
like,
we were buddies.
The
with them.
Chula Lynch mob.
yeah, and so they were like totally like we had a whole crew, right? I was like, dude, we got a Mexican gang, you know?
What were we?
Right now.
Seattle Syndicate.
Seattle Syndicate.
Wait, they were the Chula Lynch mob and you were the Seattle Syndicate?
Yeah.
You had a way better name. I don't think their name maybe has aged well.
But yeah, so the one dude from Vegan Reich had like some Rasta cap on his head.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's a-
Ron ended up with
Snatched it.
Yeah, and like so we were like coming back, we're taking photos everywhere.
Sean
Yeah.
from Vegan Right.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was. But anyways, the Rasta cap was in Ron's possession after the debacle. And we were taking photos, and then like the next issue of whatever zine came out was like, we got your hat, your head's next.
I forgot about all that,
So
man.
great.
That's excellent.
Well, I think it's great that you went right from Nazi stories to Vegan Reich stories. I think that, that works for me. A hardline thing didn't age well.
Fuck.
So was that? So then, supposedly, the thing in Colorado Springs, not Colorado Springs, Pueblo, was Nazis
Oh,
Yeah.
Bomb.
with the bomb.
Firecracker.
Fucking nuts.
I've heard a lot of firecrackers.
Yeah, maybe.
It was the biggest
I can't
firecracker.
remember.
It was. You're gonna say bomb, right, Mark?
Well, okay, so my sister and Mike Watt, that she was dating at the time, we went to get fireworks, and he got a half stick of dynamite.
Okay.
And we blew that up in a fucking field, and it knocked me down. I mean, we were far enough back, but you feel the fucking shockwave hit
Yeah.
me in the chest, hit them kind of in their heads. I was just talking to my sister about this recently as well, and it felt like that big. Like, I've been around M80s, man. And,
So that felt like you say
M80s
that's
are
what
like, oh shit, what the fuck was that? Oh,
you say that's what Pueblo felt like.
yeah, and it
Because
was
I
around
remember it
4th of July.
moving the van.
Yeah, I was in the van. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were.
It was big.
yeah.
I like that because
It was
you
not
think
legal.
you think no, it was homemade. I assume.
I assume,
I'm
but
sure
it was
it
around
was.
the 4th of July, so if I was able to get a half stick of dynamite,
Well, that's true. And John, I mean, maybe
I got a
you're
stick of
lucky
dynamite
that it
once.
wasn't homemade because they might have put nails in it. or
City.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, no, that's where we go. We also
Yeah.
got a fucking tennis ball with just a wick in it.
Oh yeah.
It was all dynamite.
And they would sell volleyballs. with
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, and the scariest thing about that half stick of dynamite going off, dude, is it fucking shot in the air, like fucking 300 yards over our head, and ended up in a forest, and we're like,
Yeah.
we gotta get out of here.
Yo.
But if that had gone straight at us, it would have gone like.
Who
we
was
would've
there? I know
killed
you
us.
were there because you were almost in tears, dude. Remember when Integrity came through, and we went to like swimming in some place out by North Bend, and I had like a bag full of M250s, and I sat up
Is
there
that
with
Blue
like
Hole or Toll Bridge?
Told.
it was like the canyon, and like
Oh no, that's Blue Hole.
and
Yeah,
you were
in
swimming
North Bend,
down, you were
Snoqualmie
swimming
there.
down below,
Yeah.
and I was up there with like one of the Melnicks, and I'm like, yo, check this out, and I pull out these M250s. And we start lighting them and throwing them down, like just downstream from you, and you came running up, you motherfucker!
So fucking pissed.
Well, I mean, you're having flashbacks because this was after Pueblo, right?
Maybe.
It was so fucking.
Was that
loud.
when they played out at Big John's?
Yeah, I think it was '94. I want to say it was '94. That it might have been '95.
They played Ground Zero.
Ground Zero.
So
they played
much.
Ground Zero.
So much
With Earth
happens in that like a 2-year period. Sometimes
Summer
it's hard.
'94.
Between 94 and 95. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
there's so much packed in there.
It was a good time.
Well, did they not actually play in the basement of John? They played at Big
They
John's.
played Big John's basement too.
Did they?
But that was the
I know
same, I
Snapcase
think it was
did.
the same weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Snapcase,
Donuts.
Donuts.
Donuts, because we would take
Yeah.
anybody who showed up during the summertime, we'd take them out to Tolt, or
Yep.
we'd take them to
We go
swimming
swimming
holes and
first.
shit. So
Yeah.
All right. Of course, a couple people chimed in with things like just beer with a question mark, and then JK. So
yeah, I'm drinking one right now, man.
John Orton. That's actually so one yes.
Yeah, me.
One actual yes to that question. So I didn't even expect that to be a legit question. John Orton, Big John. Well, I'm not supposed to call him Big John. John Orton says, "One more time, please."
One more time, what?
Well, I'm assuming that means
We
that you
did
play.
one more time, like 3 times.
Right, but you guys are gonna. You guys are
fuck was
gonna.
he?
You guys are gonna do probably. I don't know. What?
Fucker.
Are you sure he wasn't there?
Who knows?
Oh Jesus, that's it.
We were.
Yeah. But then someone wants copies of test presses to finish their collection.
I sold all mine.
Sold all yours.
Yeah,
if
how much
anybody's
money
looking to
do they
make some
want?
money, though, I've got a connection here. What's that?
How much money do they want, man? I got some trips
We
coming
have the
up.
reels.
Oh,
Somebody
well,
named Mitch.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know Mitch. I never met
Mitch.
him.
That's who's asking the question.
Yeah, he's got. I sold him everything.
No, he needs the statement. He needs the statement EP and struggle split test press. The stalemate. I think he probably means stalemate.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Fuck that guy.
No,
Statement.
Well, unless he means statement the band and thinks for some reason
band?
one of you might have it.
Well, I don't have any. I don't have a test press.
test
but
press,
I'm
yeah.
good friends with Greg. He sent me digital recordings.
All right. Well, I think he says statement EP. Mitch, did you mean stalemate?
Come on, Mitch.
And the split with struggle test press, because that'd be then he'd have a complete collection of Undertow.
Well, I got a mouth to feed here, man. So send me some money.
Wait, you're talking about child or your mouth?
My mouth. Okay. Murph's got 2 mouths to feed. John's got 3 mouths to feed. You know.
There's a question here about this. It is, one, you just said, so you don't have children, but everyone else in the room has children,
Yep.
other than me. I mean, everyone else in the band. How has hardcore influenced how you raise your kids, or has it?
I don't know if it has. Maybe.
I
don't
make
know.
my kid listen to hardcore sometimes.
You make them listen to
Can't
hardcore?
stand it.
Yeah.
I think it's just the influence of how we became into our lives now.
I
It's
guess
just,
for
we're kind of we're still the same people.
yeah.
Um,
I think for
our
me,
ethics are still the same, pretty much. Politics are still the same.
Yeah.
I think it just reflects onto our kids.
yeah, I think
No.
for me, all right. So I'm a much different parent in many ways than my parents were for me, right? But my parents were, I mean, not to sound horrible, but I mean, they just kind of didn't care what I did, right? I didn't live at home all through high school. I basically lived with Dan Chunkers. I did what I wanted, right? And they were just like, yeah, as long as you don't get thrown in jail and you graduate, we don't really care. And I was like, sweet, good deal. I'm not like that at all. Like, I'm like, I can't even fucking believe they did that. Who does that? But I recognize like the freedom I had. I was just fortunate to get into hardcore and play music, and it was just like this creative thing, right? And it was productive, and we got to travel. And so, not that like my kids, like I'm going to be in a band and go on tour. Like she's only 6, but I do recognize, kind of like whatever. And this is not just hardcore. This is probably anybody that has kids, but that's how I'd translate it. Like hardcore was a way for me to do something and do some form of art or expression, express some feelings, whatever, right? Instead of getting in fights. And, now as a parent, like, just recognizing when my kid doesn't want to fucking go to jiu-jitsu class, maybe I shouldn't force her, right? Like, yeah, you should color, like, like, maybe that's what you're into and that's okay. And I just, so I'd have to recognize, and just be like, and foster that.
Yeah, nurture.
Yeah.
And for all of you, they're pretty young, except Damien. How's yours?
Well, my daughter's 8. My stepdaughter is almost 18.
Okay.
So
Okay. So I'm thinking, 8-year-old's still pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if this question kind of will make more sense as your kids get into discovering culture for themselves.
Well, I'd say with my 17-year-old, I mean, I guess, it certainly did influence my parenting in the way that it gave me like a group of people to sort of grow up around that are all pretty decent people. I probably got more of my moral compass from my friends than I did my parents. I mean, my parents, it was kind of similar. They were never around. They didn't really give a shit. Like, as long as I didn't get in any trouble, they were fine. So I spent every weekend going to party hall shows and doing all that stuff. So my formative years were spent around my peers. So with my 17-year-old, like, it's weird now. She just graduated 2 days ago at the same, like, in Seattle Center where I graduated, where you guys came and saw my graduation. But it's like I graduated and we, like, basically hopped in a van the next day and were just gone for, like, weeks. And looking at her, I was like, I cannot fucking imagine her doing that.
Right.
It's like, it's crazy. Like,
I know. I was talking to somebody at work, and I'm like, God, like, I did my first like West Coast tour with a band. I didn't have a driver's license. It was like over spring break, like
I drove.
yeah, you know what I mean. With like and with Ron, who was like this grown man, you know what I mean. And it's like I'm like
But not really. Ron was only 2 years older than me.
He seemed a lot older.
But he
He just seemed like
I think he's 7 older than me and Murph.
He's like 2 years older than me. Right?
So you're.
Like,
So he's 3 years. Older
2 or
than
3.
me? Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. Didn't
Yeah.
way older than
It felt
Quite a
like
bit.
that. Ron felt like that.
At
My
the
parents
at
were
the
freaked
time,
out.
that age difference was huge.
My mom was freaked out. Like, you're going. There's this dude that's like 24, and you're 14 or whatever. 16, I guess. She's like, you're going with a 24-year-old man. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then, but I had Greg, and it's like, Mom,
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah, but and I think about that, and I'm like, dude, I would never let my fucking kid do that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. I don't know.
So realistically, well, since it started with you, Damien, she's graduating from high school.
yeah.
She said, "I'm going to get in a van and go on tour." I mean, could you even say no?
I mean, I'd let her if that's what she wanted to do, but I'd be concerned. I mean, the shit we did and saw was fucking crazy. I mean, it's a different world now. Like,
Yeah, it's totally
There's an
different now, too.
expectation of contact with your children all the time.
There is an expectation of that. Do you think the world is more dangerous or safer?
Dangerous.
It's hard
You think
to
it's
say.
more dangerous
Yeah.
than
I
in the
think so.
90s when we went out? Because
I
the
think so.
crime rates don't reflect that.
It's different though. It's
different, yeah.
So I mean, we also didn't have fucking crazy social media like on our fucking cell phones, like 24/7, where you have no fucking idea who you're talking to on the other side. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have that.
Right.
We had to go get fucking dialers.
No,
dude.
we had.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. We literally had God knows who putting those classifieds in Maximum Rock and Roll or whatever. Like, so someone told me that.
You know what? This is the thing too. Is like looking back on getting in a van with these guys and you or Ron. We had built a trust that we had each other's back. And I think in today's world and society, there's no trust. I feel because people don't really have a background of a solid friendship or community in that aspect of things.
Do you think there aren't 15, 16, 17-year-old kids in bands right now
Oh,
together?
there is. I work at the club, so
Right,
I see them,
that are
and that's
feeling
what
that.
I reflect on. I see how they work as a unit,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more of the aspect of being in a band and being on social media and having some type of fame, large or small, and the cutting out all that, we just relied on ourselves, So,
It's interesting.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to be able to give credit, but someone said the situation with when you bring up the idea that crime rates are lower, but you kind of put that out with the fact that no one lets their kids kind of go out the same way. So is it
True.
just that there are less
And a lot
victims
of people
available?
don't trust authority like they did back when we were growing up. In
Yeah.
that aspect.
yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. I think maybe a bad example. Maybe it's not. But all the run-ins we had with police on Undertow tours.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That would be probably different today, right? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
Like
Well, I mean,
They
I
would have
can
been
attest to
different
that.
then if
The
it
thing
wasn't
is-
a van full of white guys.
but police,
Yeah.
but police back then were not like militarized like they are today. You know what I mean? They're not fucking basically. They weren't like as itchy trigger finger as they are today. They just weren't. It was different, right? So it's a different world, man. And it's just I don't know. It's much more dangerous today, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just like, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be different, but I police They were different back then. They're different now.
Mm-hmm.
That is a whole new dynamic. It's different.
Itchy trigger finger, less training,
Right.
you know.
Military weapons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn! I remember the first time. Remember when we were in at the airport in Berlin? That was the first time I ever saw like a machine gun.
Oh my god, at the airport,
You know,
yeah.
and that was so that was 95.
So scary.
And we spent we spent what, like 36 hours at that fucking airport.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that was the first time talking about like police that are militarized. You know, we're sleeping and playing volleyball with a fucking balloon.
Right.
and then seeing guys just walk by with machine guns. It's like, fuck, dude.
I just stepped back in the room. Which airport?
Berlin?
No, that
Frankfurt?
was Frankfurt.
We were talking about how the police are militarized or whatever, and
Yeah. 99, I went over with my clan and the Schiphol airport, Amsterdam.
yeah.
Seeing dudes just in there with their machine guns, and like, I wanted to go
German
over and talk
shepherds.
to them about them, and like, can I check that out?
Yeah, it's just that the world's different and there's a different context to like every interaction now. So I feel less prepared to deal with those sort of things maybe than I did when I was 17. Maybe
So
I
let's-
just felt more immortal back then, but
Being childless and having, well, I don't have to face this with my own kid, right? And I don't know how, Mark, if you feel like you plug into that at all, but do you think there's an element of that is just because it's your kid, or do you think that some of that is coloring your perspective on it? Are you willing to engage with the idea that it might be better than you think it is, that it would still be safe to do? Well, it wasn't safe, but it would still be doable.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure she'd be ultimately fine. I mean, I would, like I said, if she wanted to go on tour with her band, which doesn't exist, but if that's something she wanted to do,
Right.
I'd be like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, part of me would probably be kind of stoked, like, fuck, it's gonna be awesome. You know, all you assholes are gonna be sitting on your fucking phones the whole time, or I had a backpack full of tapes that all I could bring with me.
We had to listen to
Big-ass
Mark's
Walkman.
CDs till they
I
got
think,
sold.
I think any of us were, if our kid or kids were at the age to jump in a van and go, I think all of us would be like, cool, I'm gonna go with you. But not be the like, you know, the intense parent, but be like,
I'll buy
this is
you
gonna be
weed.
fucking awesome. I'm going on tour with my kid.
Yeah,
Like,
that'd be pretty
that's
sick.
an awesome scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, so yeah, I totally admit, like, I having a kid fucking skews my perspective on this shit. Absolutely, 100%. It just forces you to think about things like you didn't have to think about before. You have to think about it. You have to deal with it. You know, somehow. Like, I don't know. My kid wants to do a band. She wants to go out. Like, it just depends. It depends. She's in a band with a bunch of fucking douchebags that I can't fucking stand.
Yeah.
Hell fucking no. You know, but if they're all great kids and I trust them, yeah, why not? You know?
For me, with no kids, but I have 2 nephews and a niece, and when they all hit 16 and they're in high school and whatnot, I'm looking back and I'm like, man, when I was 16, we were fucking playing with Jawbreaker. We were on the fucking road, and I look at them and they're fucking great kids, and now they're in their 20s and shit. But like going like, oh man, like that's insane that we were 16 and fucking hit the road. Stole Damien right after graduation.
Yeah.
Like to me, I was like, I'm not a parent. But watching family members hit this age group and being like, damn, dude, it was like, you know, sell the house, sell the kids, sell the car. I'm not fucking coming home. I'm going on the fucking road. And we just did it. But yeah, we had been playing together for years.
Yeah.
You knew if the van never ran again from Kentucky, we're still going to make it home.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
everything's fucking
yeah.
fine. But I do watch, like we got some kids at work. They have this, my first job, and they're super young, and so I'm like, that kid would never make it. That kid would never make it. That kid will. So I definitely have that. Like, dude, you wouldn't last fucking a minute. And then other kids, I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah.
So I had an experience when I was driving for Soda's company. I did that for a couple of years. And one Christmas, this girl was given a credit card that she could use specifically to get rides. And her mom's like, you know, you can just go around the city with your friend. We trust this car company. And so she was a, 15-year-old high school girl or whatever. And I'm picking up her and her friends and taking them downtown, and then 5 hours later picking them up and dropping them off. So we dropped off a bunch of her friends one day, and she was the last one in the car. And she started telling me the stories, and she was like, oh yeah, that girl you just dropped off, she's been run away from home for for like 3 weeks or something. And I was just like, what? You know, and she's like, oh yeah, but she's just staying at all of our houses. And then when she knows her parents are at work, she just goes back and eats food and gets her clothes and stuff. Like, do they know she's run away? And she's like, I don't know. But I was saying, like, it's just surprising to me. You know, I drive around bartenders and, well, I didn't say, I'll tell her all the types of people that I drove around all the time. But like I said, it's weird because I can't imagine a group of 15-year-old kids riding around in this car and going around the city without a parent. It doesn't seem like that's how kids are. And she said most of the kids at my school aren't like that. They're all totally sheltered. And that was her, you know. And I said something, and I remember her saying, like, we are going to destroy these kids. She was saying, like, in a few years we will own them. We'll be their bosses. And I'm like, oh wow, this is like this 14 or 15-year-old girl all of a sudden talking about how she knows for a fact the experience that she's getting right now, she's going to be able to lord over all these people. It was kind of a trip.
Well, another thought that I just had is too, I mean, we're all straight edge, so it wasn't like,
Yeah.
you know, we were motivated to go play shows and we're straight edge, so there was no like, we were using our brains.
Yeah.
You know, as much as we could. It's not like we just fucking hit the road and we're gonna follow the fucking Grateful Dead, you know? We had purpose, and I think that part of that kept us, I wouldn't say in line, but we also like weren't drinking or doing drugs. Like, you know, maybe we fucking egg somebody's house and fucking throw a teepee. You know, it was the craziness that you see with other people getting into. We were mild mannered, although, you know, we ended up at shows with fucking skinheads having to defend ourselves. So we had a fucking crazy experience, but it also, like, we were legit about like, okay, we're going to California. We're going 2 months on the road. Everybody pack up your shit, but we're all responsible. You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
one fucking knucklehead could have ruined the whole fucking thing. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. Yes.
You got one asshole that's like, whatever. I don't even want to get into it. Not us. I've been in bands where you're like, this motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
He's this son of a bitch. You know?
No, I've never been in a band like that.
Okay, I'm trying to think about how some of these questions are going to bleed into each other. So, Soto says, why did you name yourself after a Tool album?
It was better than Firestone or whatever the fuck Pettibone came up with.
Bridgestone.
Bridgestone.
Is it? So which is it? Is it Firestone or Bridgestone?
Bridgestone.
Bridgestone. All right.
Tire.
Thanks, Sean.
They're both tires, dude.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to go with some jokey ones that. Okay. Sean O'Leary asks.
I want to ask him if he's wearing sweatpants. Right. With his shirt tucked.
No, this is O'Leary.
Oh,
Not Land.
damn it.
Not Landy.
Edit.
Both Canadians. It's fine. He says, what was the worst pile-on injury?
Oh, fuck that.
What?
Oh, yeah. Murph's garage.
That was the worst one. Were you injured
Dude,
for a
my
long time
ribs
after
were
that?
Cracked.
So you had actual cracked ribs that you lived with for a while
know.
after that.
That fucking hurt.
But it hurt.
Yeah, it fucking sucked.
Most people thanked during a set.
Oh, gee.
Oh my god.
Must have been burning dogs.
Oh no! I haven't gotten to that question yet. Just hold off.
Oh, amazing.
Hold
the
off on that
Greyhounds.
question.
The vocalist is gonna have to answer that one, man. Shit.
Okay.
The most thank yous.
Was there a specific time when you remember thinking like maybe too many thank yous?
I don't know about thank yous. There was definitely talks of like the Greyhounds.
Okay, hold on. We'll get there. Nate Duchesne asked the question, so we'll get.
I want to thank the kids. This one goes out to all the straight edge kids.
Yeah.
Love the kids. Want to thank Mark. Want to thank Damien. Want to thank Murph. Want to thank my cousins here.
Scott Key. Scott
Paul
Key.
Walker.
What show was that, Mark? What show was that?
He
P-Dub.
found I had
Probably a reunion?
Yeah, I'm making shit up because there was definitely times where John would be saying something. I'm sorry, but you already know this.
Yeah.
We would.
I'd fucking talk too much.
I just look at Murph. Murph be like, "Yeah, let's go." 1, 2, 3, 4, and we just go.
That's what I'm waiting. I ain't mad.
It was a game to see how long you
Fucking
could
there's
go.
silence. It's gotta be filled.
Silence is worse.
No, but you're a great frontman. I mean,
Thanks, man.
I'm not.
Oh yeah, I
I'm not
mean,
dissing you.
Hey,
No one
silence
in this-
equals death.
No, silence is consent. Who was that? You guys remember? Come on. It's our hardcore history.
Olgus Looney.
Silence is consent.
whipped.
Oh, man. False liberty.
Holy
wow.
Full Goose Looney
Nailed it.
wasn't a hardcore band.
What?
I said Bill Goose Looney wasn't.
Oh
hardcore
yeah,
band.
I thought you said False Liberty. I was like, what? I'm walking out.
Really? So that was False Liberty. Silence
Yeah.
equals consent. Okay, O'Leary has the third question. Last one. Merits, if any, of recording with a Fender M80 amp.
Sounds
Shit.
awesome.
Yeah, it's the best amp ever. Everybody should use it. It's a classic.
Doesn't take any time to warm up.
Yeah, you don't even need speakers for it. It's got a headphone jack that you can just plug your guitar into, and then
mic the headphones.
yeah, it's fantastic. I still have one.
Cool.
Why
He's
did you
gonna. I
want
think he's
that?
gonna like that.
Oh well, just back in
Was
the
there an
day.
influence?
No.
just
It was a birthday gift or a Christmas gift or something. Went to a place and they had a Marshall and they had that, but that fucker had so much gain on it. I mean, I didn't know the difference between solid state and tube, how fucking thin a solid state sounds, but it was a Marshall and it wasn't like an 800 or even a 900. It was just like kind of their blues model or some shit. So, you know, we're writing Look Before You Leap, and I need some fucking gain. So those were the two options. Also, the one that I had was a rack mount. So back in the day, you could get like a processor and get like, you could sound like Queensryche, you know? Like, all this dude, it had 100 different programs you could put in with like Echo and all the shit that I fucking never used. And I think I got a wireless. Yeah, so the idea of having a rack mount and like being like a pro and you can get that tuner that's like, you know, like a Cylon eye back and forth, right?
You had your
It was
BC
just-
Rich
it looked
too back
cool.
then.
What's that?
You had the BC Rich too.
Yeah, I mean, God, somebody's asked me how many different guitars I played during Undertow, and some of them are just photos borrowing gear from somebody else, but the actual guitars, I don't know, man. I forgot I had that SG, the special.
Yeah.
This is before your time, and then I switched over to the BC Rich, and that fucker wouldn't stay in tune. So we're up in Canada, and I threw it over Murph's head because I was so fucking pissed. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
And that was the night we almost broke up.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're done.
After the hour, we're like, she's
Yeah.
going home from Canada, and we're fucking done. This is over.
Then I had Paul at some point, and I had, there's a bunch of shit, but
Sean's gonna love this conversation. I know he's into the gear.
the M80 was, and then you know, the recordings we did down in, was it down near the fucking Rainier Brewery?
Yeah.
We did those,
Electric Eel. Is that?
is it?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Man, it sounded good for the time, and I wanted it to sound like Inside Out and Chain of Strength. Like, those guitars were so good, but I had no idea what a fucking amp was, you know? If that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, totally. So since you brought it up, Nate Deshane says, "What about the dogs in the fire?"
Who knows? They're dead. I don't know.
What
there was
was-
a news story.
People hear about the burning dog
Greyhounds.
story.
They just let the greyhounds.
There was a fire at a place, a kennel.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
It was like a,
Was that show at that church?
current
On the outside
events
of
in
Capitol
Seattle,
Hill?
Washington.
I wasn't
at the
there.
time,
I only
St.
heard about it.
Joseph's.
Yeah,
Maybe
St.
Spark
Joseph's.
Marker?
That's it. Yeah, I think I was there, but I wasn't in the band yet.
Okay.
Spanky playing bass. I think it was post Seth.
Dude, I have a video of that somewhere. I mean, it was on VHS.
Ooh.
I had it too.
Yeah, well,
I need that.
at one point, I think I copied
Great
everything
show.
for a celebration for Murph back in the day of all the videotapes I had. And now I see some of them on the internet, but there was definitely video of that show because, I mean, when I made those copies, you all got them. Going back and listening to like the songs that we had when like Seth and James, like listening to old material that we never released and being like, "Fuck, thank God we didn't fucking release."
Yeah.
Just a mess.
Deceived or some shit, you know? Right? That was the song, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. You know, I took my daughter to Richmond Beach. I was driving back, and I drove by the fucking Masonic Temple. We played.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, we played that building. That's where fucking Naomi cracked her head, gave herself vertigo.
Yep.
Remember that
yeah,
shit?
yeah.
It's kind of my fault.
What show was
she's
that?
deaf in one ear, right?
I don't know. It was like bad, right?
Yeah,
close.
yeah, real bad.
Who else played that?
I don't fucking know.
Was that the Payne's Gray show?
Dude,
They only played once.
don't ask me.
Is that the Accused play?
No.
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 I think Payne's Gray. It
All
was
I know is
Greg,
we
it was
played.
Greg and
Yeah.
Dan.
All I know is that
Sunny
she was on
Days,
the side
they
of the
played one
stage. She's like, I
show?
really want to stage dive. I've never stage dived. I was
see it.
like, fucking
No?
go for it. And it was between songs, and she ran and jumped, dude, and everybody fuking cleared out of the way. And she just hit the fucking ground. So I felt really bad, but I mean, seriously, people should have caught her. Fucking-
Yeah, they should have caught
you
her.
know, that's the idea. Everybody knows she was coming. They weren't moving out of spite. It was just. But it would have been, it would have probably been better if we had been playing and everybody's active.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I always was like, "Fuck, man, I shouldn't have said, yeah, go for it."
Oh man.
Eric, who's in Edgequarrel with you, John, says, "Who's the sexiest floor puncher?"
Like in the world?
No, just in the band.
Oh.
I guess who's got the moves?
I think
Not
well,
I.
Ryan and I are the only ones that really moshed.
That's all Mark Mosh a little bit here. And
Yeah,
there.
a little bit.
I was more of a stage diver and bad at it. But I had this conversation with somebody recently that's like 5 years older than me, and I was like, I bet back in the punk days you were a pogo dude. You're just pogoing up and down. And I was like, do you think I'm a fucking slam dancer or a stage diver? And he's like, well, I know you played in bands, so you always had access to the side of stage, so I bet you're a fucking stage diver. So it became this, ask your friends about that one.
You
Where you...
fucking Sherlock that out of you.
there's a guy in the fucking circle pit doing the fucking, this. There's different moves for different people. And me was like, I did have access to the side of stage, and I just throw my fat body on top of people. Sometimes I didn't know it was coming. It's not like I was doing flips, I'm not. But yeah, I think the idea of were you a floor puncher, were you a circle pit, were you a pogo,
Did it
were you
all.
fucking...
Yeah.
Why limit yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the reason why I asked that is because it does bleed into this just a little bit. Some guy named Brian Hill asked, "How long does it take to drive to Cleveland from Detroit?"
In unison?
From here? 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours.
Anyone want to do the invitation?
2 hours, dude.
That's the best. That's the best fake 2 hours we ever drove, though. I think.
Oh, man.
Because it did end up with us learning how to kickbox in his backyard.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. We stayed
had
with
so
him
much
for 2
fun.
days on that one trip.
Mark brought a photo album over tonight that literally has a photo of Brian doing that.
Yep.
So I'm gonna put that photo up, teaching us the
overalls.
what's that?
He was wearing overalls.
Yeah.
Super 90s thing.
Oh, people wore overalls.
Yeah.
I never had any.
When we came home, people were bummed when we'd start dancing.
Oh, it changed.
Oh, yeah.
A wave.
Quick.
Did anyone in this room ever wear overalls?
I didn't.
No.
As a baby.
Yeah, at Oshkosh. When I was 3.
You know what I mean, David. Come on, John. Look, John tilted his
John-
head and
John
hasn't,
100%.
and he has not answered yet.
At some
I think
point,
so, in my House of Pain days.
You think there was some?
Yeah, my
Club in
Danny
the U
Boy.
district.
More because, like,
dance club.
Jonas-
the underground.
Underground?
The underground.
Yeah.
Shit.
Your underground
There was
days,
the
dude?
Annex in Redmond.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
that-
Dancing, me and Paul.
Who
pulled up.
were and you were there with me? The underground. We saw Unleashed, Entombed,
Oh, yeah.
and Morbid Angel with Rocker Steve.
Yeah, I thought it was Cannibal Corpse, too.
No.
No.
So
I was at that show.
There was. I still have it. I still have an Unleashed fucking shirt from that show.
Dude, that club was awesome because it was like the goth. They had awesome goth nights. Then they had awesome new wave nights. Then fucking Unleashed would play or 7 Seconds and Brotherhood and just.
I
that
remember
place ruled.
that night they had Nazi skinheads were
Oh,
running
it
the
was
door.
Huge.
And,
Yeah,
and we were
running with the skinhead
so
at the door.
bummed. And I just remember, I remember at one point during Morbid Angel, we were just going fucking off. It was so much fun. And there was a Nazi kind of leaning on the stage, and I just cocked back and hit him with everything I had. I was fucking 14. And it was shooting a bear with a 22. You know? He just started looking around who the fuck did that? And I just slinked back between, and I was tucked and hiding behind the Tombs gear, I'm shit, that didn't do anything to him.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What was the singer's name of Ignite?
Zoli.
Zoli. I remember when Zoli let me punch him. I had the same experience. And then you punched him. He's like, ooh, ah. Yeah, it was a good punch.
Fucking Zoli.
Fucking Ignite.
Yeah, go for it.
I did on that second.
Oh yeah,
Word up.
there's some Ignite talk
Unleash.
in the new one.
You
Yeah,
tell all the details?
he
I
alludes.
go into a bunch.
He alludes to some
Bucket of
details.
water, orange in the asshole.
Oh, okay, you tell them.
Oh, I didn't tell about the
Clippers?
No. I
Go
didn't.
for it.
The orange in the asshole. I forgot about
That was fucking amazing.
It.
The last night
Trying
of
to
the
light
tour
their
was
dick on
amazing.
fire,
When we just
too.
fucked with them.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
always
Damon,
like
you
it.
just
through
said
all the
something
fruit.
quiet that didn't come through. Let's just focus on that for a
I
minute.
said when they're
happened?
trying to light their dicks on fire.
I don't remember
This
this.
is burning.
They were
herpes off.
just standing in the fire. We had that place we played where we just stayed outside of it. I can't remember where it was. Had the night had
Oh.
there's grain silos with cool graffiti.
Zurich, Switzerland.
Okay, yeah.
Dude, Pat Federley was there. Yeah, like, dude, that
We had a
was
big fire going,
We had
and they were
dude,
like,
you and I, Damien, you and I broke into the warehouse next door, and we stole like 55 fucking pallets. And we had the biggest fucking. It was like we were like on a football rally in Texas. Like at one point, do you remember?
Yeah, this sounded familiar.
We couldn't get close enough to the fire to throw a pallet on, so we had to like sit back. We'd like and swing it like 1, 2, 3, and like launch it because it's like you couldn't get within 15 feet without burning yourself. It was so huge.
So to recap,
And then there was the train, and we were trying to break into the train.
yeah, I remember that
We
now.
fucked the door. We could never get in.
so the two of you went crazy in Foreign Nation and tried to be like what we hear about all the time, which is immigrants infesting the country and
Yes.
trying to steal things, burn things,
we were-
break into trains.
Piece of shit American trash. Like, welcome to Zurich.
They're so sweet there.
Oh God, it was a diamond train.
But yeah, that was awesome because then there was like a game where like you drop your pants and you try to back up to the fire, and like the first one and the last one, or the person that got closer to the fire was the winner, you know, and everyone screamed like ah!
Here's the
Asshole
thing:
hairs
I
singeing
totally
off.
understand that game. That sounds like kind of a good game.
Yeah, and that was how it started, and then it just like kept progressing into more and more like horrific shit until like someone was trying to shove a whole entire orange in their asshole. Like,
I was sleeping during all this, dude. Did not see any of this, but I know the story, so I missed out on that one.
the best.
You said tried.
11 grapes went in, 10 came out.
Yeah,
yeah?
that was a different night though.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck.
And that
Were we
was
eating
like
pretzels?
on.
That was like the
We had like
worst, funnest tour.
yeah.
But the
At the
fun
time-
part was just us, like, revenge on the rest of them.
Like during that tour, it was fucking horrible. And do you guys remember? We asked Mandel.
We
to
weren't
go
really
with
a
us.
band. We'd already
did
broke
we?
up.
So we asked Mandel to go to Europe with us on that tour, and Mandel had just done the United States with Ignite, and he's like, "No, dude, I'm good. I don't want to go." and then when we get back from Europe, I talked to him, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, how was it? Like, there's a fucking reason I didn't want to go on that tour."
God.
Shitheads.
Oh man. Speaking of things I would never let my kid do, that was... I was gonna say that was the tour that we were in the airplane. We had like taken off from SeaTac to go to like I don't know fucking Chicago or somewhere for our layover. And I went like, oh God, I never told my dad I was going to Europe. That's right. And I called him collect from the phone on the back of the seat of the plane. And I was like, I'm going to Europe, Dad. He's like, oh, okay. How long? I'm like, like 5 or 6 weeks. I'm not totally sure. It's like, well, I'll see you when you get back. Like, I would not let my kid do that in a million years.
Oh my god.
How would you stop it?
But,
I'm on the plane.
I guess I'd just be really mad for a long time.
All right, this one, I don't know how this one's going to go over, but we'll give it a shot. When precisely did you realize that white guy dreadlocks were not going to go over well? I feel like I know the answer to this.
My current drummer has dreadlocks.
So, well, again, it was a different time,
Yeah.
and I will tell you, Detroit.
Yeah.
That was where I was like,
Street.
yeah, wrong turn down Livernois Street.
Yeah.
And I'm driving,
I'm in the passenger
and all of a
seat.
sudden I'm like, I need to shave my head, guys.
That was a bad neighborhood. There's like corpses on the ground and houses on fire.
I mean,
I'd never seen anything like it.
The skyscrapers in downtown Detroit when we pulled in were all boarded up with wood. Like 5 stories because everybody had smashed out all the fucking windows, but those buildings were fucking vacant.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we took a wrong turn and it was like, man, we gotta find out how to get back. We pulled into a gas station. It was like, I'm not getting out.
Yeah.
I'm not getting out. I'm not getting out. You know, just looked at the
was-
van. And I think we just turned. I don't even think.
No, remember there was
directions.
bulletproof glass at the subway that I
Subway.
went
Yeah.
to. Yeah, it
Well,
was crazy.
Chokehold, their van got shot up a week after we were there. It was either that tour or the next tour, and one of those guys was saying like that the bullets actually hit their fucking van, and they like were laying down in the van like bop 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 bop.
Wow.
I mean, I think they got a book coming out or something, but it's probably in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just remember being
that
like,
shit was
"Whoa,
crazy.
We were just there.
Yeah, they did
But
not
you-
like the white person dreadlocks.
I seem to remember that you got comments in New York.
yeah,
on the
yeah,
street, right?
the Rasta dudes in New York too. They,
Did not
they
like
didn't-
it?
They didn't appreciate them.
But a lot of people had them back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were inspired 100% by fucking Tommy Accused. You know, I'm not gonna lie. And they were like, man, there were girl magnets for most of the tour. But yeah, like there are certain people that didn't like them.
Yeah. It's interesting. Well, we don't really get political, but I'm interested. Just even if we cut this part out, what do you guys think of that? The idea that people can't have dreadlocks. I mean, obviously your drummer does.
Yeah.
You just said.
I mean, we just want him to shave it because we hate him. We don't really care about the cultural appropriation part. I don't know. I think that's a weird thing. I actually watched,
Is it cultural appropriation?
I don't know if it is because
Michael Ann points out that if she didn't wash her hair for a very short period of time, she would have dreadlocks.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to assign like something like, oh, dreadlocks. That's a black thing. Like you're immediately like assigning it to somebody where like people in Asia do it. There's like Asian cultures where people have dreadlocks. It's not just not a specific thing. It feels very categorical. I don't know. I watched a YouTuber. This guy, that one janitor. He's a black guy with dreadlocks, and he says the number one question he gets is it okay for white people to have dreadlocks?
Oh,
and his opinion is like, I couldn't give a shit less. I'm
Right.
not a Rastafarian. I don't know why anyone would care. And he's definitely said it wasn't. I don't know. I kind of feel like it kind of is weird.
To be clear, I'm not trying to make a point. I just think it's an interesting thing.
Yeah,
and it's like I would rather. I mean, I don't have them. I'd rather err on the side of caution in something like this. But it's weird that it got. The first time I ever heard anyone have a problem with it was on tour with you, and I don't even remember Detroit. I remember you saying someone said something to you in New York.
Yeah.
And then that was probably the first time where I went, huh. But in my life, I've had a lot of those moments where, as just a oblivious white guy, someone says something to me and I go, huh. And it causes me to kind of rethink, Matsuoka's done that to me a number of times, where he's just like, guess what you don't think about? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to rethink things.
16 candles.
16 candles, exactly,
I think if I spontaneously grew dreadlocks all the
Can't
time,
make it
it'd be
now.
something I'd worry about, but I have the opposite problem. So, I don't know. I guess, to be clear, I guess I'm not totally certain how I feel about it. I don't know if it matters too much from my perspective. but,
Yeah. I don't know. For me personally, I'm like, give a fuck. It's hair.
yeah.
I just want to look like a fucking scumbag. 100%. Like, I was tired of like the fucking champion sweatshirts and fucking the way straight edge kids are supposed to look. So let's do the exact fucking opposite. And I'm gonna wear the same fucking shorts for 5 years.
Right.
And I'm gonna grow out my hair and just be fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as like, if, like Rastafari and whatever, like it's just another fucking religion. Like,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like
I thought Jeremy Lin. Did you see that whole thing with him and Kenyon Martin?
No.
Jeremy Lin's he's a pro basketball player. I don't know who he's playing for now, but he's an Asian guy, and he grew dreadlocks. And he's like, "Is this appropriate?" And then a bunch of other basketball players came in and said, "No, that's fucked up. You're stealing our culture." And he wrote them back, "I think you've got a Chinese symbol tattooed on your neck. Isn't that stealing my fucking culture?" Ooh. And he's from Harvard or Yale or something like that. So I thought, that's fucking brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
everybody, I'm covered in Japanese tattoos. Does that make me? I'm stealing a culture?
Yeah.
It's confusing to me because I thought the idea was, okay, this is going to sound dumb, right? This is like every what about guy or whatever. But like, isn't the point about mixing it all up? Like accepting other people and accepting their cultures. And I didn't understand. It's weird to me, the idea, stay out, you can't be in. That begins to feel wrong,
I did work with a Rasta guy at a fucking Angelica Kitchen. And you couldn't touch his head, couldn't touch his hair, and he's like, "This is where all my power comes from. This is where God talks to me through. So don't touch my back or my head or my dreads." And you're working in a fucking kitchen, dude.
By the way,
like,
I'm
I'm
insane.
gonna fucking bump into you,
Yeah.
And I'm an atheist, so go fuck that bullshit,
Right. Although I'm not trying to.
But I'm trying
touch
to be
anybody's-
respectful that, like, okay,
Yeah.
I've got this thing, and I don't want you to, fucking touch my head. Cool, I won't. It's not a big fucking deal.
Yeah. It wasn't.
I wouldn't be touching anybody's head anyway, though.
That's weird.
Unless it was,
Well,
unless it was
you're
accidental.
going by in a kitchen, like behind you, and you gotta literally, he was that sensitive about it, and that's his fucking right. I really didn't care. But when you've got a fucking thing of soup or something, you're going by somebody, and you're like behind you.
Yeah.
And if he backs into me, I get fucking drenched in fucking hot lava. You've got to like.
Yeah.
It's a physical place being in a kitchen. You've got to be like coming around behind you, and sometimes you bump into somebody, and if he's like, "Don't touch my fucking elbow, dude. I've got an elbow here, and it's a magical one, And if you touch it, I lose all my fucking magic." It's like, well,
Yeah.
shit. I'll try not to touch your elbow, dude. I'm cool with that, man.
Well, sure.
But if I accidentally
I'll try to
touch your
comply
elbow,
with whatever anybody wants.
I'm not
'cause
gonna.
they gotta live their
maliciously touch
life.
your
and-
fucking
Right.
elbow.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Interesting. All right, so we won't get too deep into stuff like that, but we might as well stay a little bit deep. We got a couple questions about the role of women in hardcore. Like, what did you think about the role of women in hardcore at the time? I'm gonna add to this, even though it wasn't my question, simply because I kind of feel like it was weird to say hardcore because we didn't really have necessarily a hardcore scene. We had more like a hardcore punk scene, which brought a lot more women into play. But what did you think about the role of women in hardcore at the time, and also specifically the Riot Grrrl movement?
For me, getting into it, like getting into punk and starting to go to shows and seeing community, I feel that the Northwest and like the Seattle area had very important women in it already. So it wasn't even in your thought about that. They're there. They're part of it too. You know what I'm trying to say? Like the show, those early on shows for me, Lori Lefevre was putting those on.
Yeah.
So she's like very important person in the scene, and yeah, she's a woman, but it never separated the thing. And then getting into hardcore and like starting to know all these guys, like we had Kirsten and Julie Roberts, like, and they were there too. And so it's like that. I hear that question come up a lot, and it's just like I don't see why there need for us specifically. That question needs to be asked because there was always women along with us.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, Meg put on so many of those Velvet Elvis
Meg,
shows that were like some of the best shows of my
Kate
life.
Redmond Y, like
Many influential women, and I like with Kirsten and Julie. I kind of felt like specifically the
they were
straight edge
sisterly
scene.
to us, for sure.
The straight edge scene here had very strong female influences
sure.
right from the beginning. But a lot of people,
And some of those girls,
a lot of people didn't even know
were
them by the
part of the
time there
Riot
was a
Grrrl
bigger
scene,
hardcore
too.
scene here.
Right.
Right. Well, we're not even in a Riot Grrrl yet, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're still a couple years before that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with John. Like, it was nothing I like really thought about. It was just like, yeah, they're just into it too. Like, it wasn't a thing. It was just it was
normal.
just normal. I think specifically with the Riot Grrrl thing, like, I don't know. I mean, I just thought it was cool. I mean, it was like, you can't deny that, like, as like a population, the punk and hardcore scene was underrepresented, right?
Yeah.
You know, but on the female side, it was like overly white male, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, and it's like I think maybe Curtis Pitts at one point, like somebody was like, you know, or at the party hall, and someone's like, you know, it's just a bunch of white suburban kids here, and Curtis is like, what do you want us to do? Like bust people into hardcore shows?
No,
It was
no,
a-
Struggle Jose.
Yeah.
Holy
It was
shit.
at the Manumission struggle.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
He
right.
said, "What do you want us to do?
Yeah,
Bust
yeah, yeah.
people into
Yeah.
hardcore?" Oh
And he-
wow.
But I mean, he had a point.
Yeah.
It's like, what? We can only do so much. You know
It's-
what I mean? Like, we can be as inclusive as we can, but we can't force people to fucking like this music and come to these shows.
Right, without dismissing the concern. Yeah, I mean, because I understand why the question gets asked.
Sure.
But it's funny to look at the genesis of something where it came from and then say, oh, it's not good because it wasn't diverse enough. When the funny thing is, it for our area, it actually was.
So, right,
Because
you
it
know,
wasn't
it's funny
terribly
because
diverse.
you get like Jose, right?
Yeah.
Like to ask us, was it Jose? Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like, dude, do you know where you're at, right? Like, you're in Seattle. Like, this is the most sterile white place on the fucking planet. You know what I mean?
And by the way, even despite that, here's Matsuoka, and here's James, and here's I
Right,
mean,
yeah,
here's
yeah.
Paul. Here's people we know that
Yeah.
that have decided that it's cool to be involved with us. I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're from San Diego. There's probably more people of
Yeah,
Hispanic
yeah.
descent
I
on the
mean,
show. I mean,
and as like a subset of the population of Seattle, like our hardcore scene was representative.
yeah, it's like
You know what I mean?
90% of
It's
the
like-
black guys in Seattle were
Oh,
shows.
we did just switch from gender to race, though. We should probably stay gender.
Yeah.
Sure, sure.
My point is like, you know, like, I don't know. We didn't have some HR program in place to like increase our diversity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. So
I feel like go finish your point.
yeah. Like, so, like, the Riot Grrrl thing was a little more, like, prominent in, like, you know, this is a thing. This is a movement. I have no problem with that. That was cool, you know? And I like the music, you know? At the same time, it's like with anything, though, like, it can go... straight edge is the same way. It can go a little too far. It becomes exclusive.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay, now it's kind of shitty, you know? Like... it's not for everybody. It's just for you and your cool crew. It's like the Better Than You crew shit, you know? It's like, that's not cool. And I'm not saying that like the Riot Grrrl scene did that, but like there maybe were factions.
Oh,
And it's
I
just-
had a very bad
and I will
experience.
call straight edge out in general too, because it was very much like that, you know?
Yeah.
I had a very bad experience, and also from the point of view of like I didn't have this terminology at the time, but just like I'm an ally, like 100% ally,
Yeah.
like not like there is no point where I would keep anyone out of anything I was involved in. I want every woman that wants to be involved in this to be involved in it, you know, like
Yeah.
you know. So it was very weird to hear, and it was also weird to be part of a group of people that had lots of female friends that were coming out. And I was in a band with Marie Coach in Bellingham, you know, one of the hardcore bands I was doing up there. We had a female member, which it's weird. Just having one female member was like huge at the time because there weren't as many. I mean, we're coming out of the 70s. We're kids coming out of the 70s and 80s growing up. It wasn't the path that girls went on as much as it was guys.
Right.
Like, and you could
It's like
encourage-
math. You know what I mean?
Well, and but you know, like I thought it was great. I really enjoyed the fact. For me, it was a personal point of like I felt like a victory that just a few short years later, 10 years later on my record label, I was able to put out a hardcore band from the Northwest made up entirely of girls, like of women. It was awesome. I was so inspired by that, you know, and I saw that they got a lot of shit.
Oh, totally.
But that was kind of a trailblazing thing. There weren't a lot, you know, donuts would show up and then people would be like, oh, well, they're not as good. There are also a lot of reasons for that, right? Like when guys are getting together and play music, like you're going to, I'm branching out. See if anyone disagrees with me on this. There's a little bit of almost like a nitpicking curve that you can put people on. So if someone is in a band and they're just like almost there, one person might say, your band is really good, I think it's great. And another person might be like, yeah, dude, you're going to have to step it up. You're not good enough. Both of those things will inspire a guy to like try to step up his game. And I don't know that kind of camaraderie exists in female circles the same way.
Yeah, it might.
Right. And you need, and when you guys start playing with a better band, both bands get better. And I hate to, I've seen this many times with bands where people get together and then it's almost like there's a little bit of a competition. If there aren't other female bands playing hardcore to play with, maybe there's that element of it doesn't quite exist the same way.
I guess, I don't know. I don't, even today, the more I think about it, there's a lot of bands. Like Mandel's put out a couple bands with like fronted by female vocalists, right? And they're good. But, and there's a lot of that going on. And I guess like I'm surprised that there's not more of it at this point in 2018. Like I'm like, shit, man, like maybe we didn't do so well, like there should be more of that, but so I guess when I think about it and I think about hardcore, punk, whatever, all of it, like it's more of like this like anarchistic system. There shouldn't be any fucking rules. There shouldn't be any, order of how things are supposed to work. That's not the point. That's not punk, It should be this natural thing, and what comes out comes out, and I guess like maybe.
Well, you could try for Utopia and get Road Warrior in that scenario.
Right. I'm not even saying Utopia. I'm just saying, like, it's not punk to have rules. Like, it's in, like, this is the way bands should be and how they should, and how good they should be or not be. Like, you should have, like, one fucking female for every fucking two band members. Like,
Right.
Really? Like, there shouldn't be any fucking rules. Like, that's not the point of punk or hardcore, And I don't know. So I mean, in one respect, I'm like, okay, I look at 2018. I'm like, yeah, I feel like as hardcore music evolves, I would expect there to be more, diversity, I guess, right? Even though we don't have a diversity program in place. But
You would have hoped it just would have happened because of our values.
But but on the other hand, it's like, well, it's kind of like this, like this anarchistic system where, who fucking knows where it's going to go? It's just going to go where it goes. And that's what it is. You know what I mean? But one thing it should never be is like exclusive, and keep people out.
Yeah.
That's all. That's how I think about it. That's how I've always thought about it.
Yeah. I think that's a common theme for Undertow. There was this subversive attitude even towards our peers around us, like other bands. It's like, oh, that was what band's doing. They think it's cool. Well, fuck it, it sucks. Like, I think that subversion is a really important thing, whether it's against society or even just your friends.
Yeah, just question everything. I don't know.
What do you think, Mark?
About the Riot Girls?
Any of it? I don't know.
No, I mean, I agree with these guys. I don't know. The weird part for me was that, oh, that's cool that you're doing that, but knowing the four of us, it's like, dude, we're on your team, dude, and you're saying, like, we don't need you. Fine, you don't need me, but...
You also don't have to be an asshole to me.
Yeah, and I think we played shows with a bunch of them down in Olympia, and then and it was definitely like, you're fucking straight edge, so you suck because you're these bro-y fucking jock dudes.
Right.
And that bugs me to no fucking end, because no, dude, we're all fucking free thinkers, and
Yeah,
we're
if there was a
well
band at
fucking
the
thought
time that it didn't really apply to, it was
Yeah, like,
Undertow.
we're really fucking well thought out, you know, and so that bothers me when somebody says you can't be part of this.
Yeah, I
and
hate being
everybody
straw-manned
like
like
you is
that.
fucking evil or whatever. So that bugged me, but I was
Yeah.
like, fucking do what you want, man. I don't fucking care.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that bothered me too.
Yeah. Other than that, it's like I get what they were doing. I don't know. I mean, like Murph said, in the punk rock scene, there are these, like, you got straight edge kids and their rules to that. Riot Girls, they had rules. There are these groups that have rules, and I really feel like with Undertow, we were like, fuck those rules, man.
Right.
Like,
We
we
were
want
like-
to play with Last Gasp. We're fucking
Yeah.
doing it, you know?
Yeah.
It just made
Ajax
no
might
fucking
let his hair on
sense to me.
fire again.
And I think, like, and that was like the party hall days, but especially when we went out on tour and saw other scenes like fucking Salt Lake City or LA or New York and New Jersey, I felt really grateful of, like, wow, we've got a scene. We're on fucking tour with Spark Marker, you know? Those bands fit really well together, but I don't think, like, some of our contemporaries were pulling out bands like Spark Marker to go on tour with. I mean, we piggybacked on the first Spark Marker tour. It was their initial idea. But in Seattle, like, when I came back, I was like, holy shit, man. And it changed then a little bit later, but those party hall days, it was free fucking punk kids, hardcore kids.
Super diverse.
Fucking ska kids could come. Goth kids could come, man.
Totally.
You had something for everybody. So when somebody says, yep, we're doing this now, and you're not fucking invited, I know 100% Undertow never did that. We were never like, we're only having straight edge shows.
Right.
Yeah.
It moved that direction when more bands came in. We definitely got bands to come up to Seattle, and I'm proud of that as well. But we were always like, yeah, I mean, we played 1007 a fucking ton of times, you know? So when somebody says...
And it made sense.
Yeah, when somebody
It
says...
did make sense then.
Somebody says, this is my group, and you're not allowed in it, and oddly enough, we believe in the same fucking shit, but you've got cock and balls. You know, like, fuck, well, I guess I'm screwed. You know, good luck with your shit. You know, I'll keep my forward movement with my boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That part just didn't make the separation of all of us being progressive as people, and you know, I get it.
Sure.
But
and I try
to me, that was a bummer. I was like, I know these dudes, man. We're super fucking liberal, and we hate some of the people coming to fucking our shows. I fucking hate that fucking football player. I hate that fucking guy, you know? Now he's at my fucking show, and he's like, yeah, doing a fucking... When a jock does a fucking stage dive back in the day, that's like, you fucking prick, you know? Like, you might be my friend, we might have a guitar class in high school and shit, but if you don't know how to properly stage dive, and you don't pick people up from the floor, and you want to be the asshole jock that shows up and is like, you know, in the fucking pit, thinking it's all about punching.
Right. Oh, you went to Lollapalooza this summer. Now you think you're a
like, oh
show
my
guy.
God. So that element I get of, like,
Yeah.
actually, yeah,
there's
you guys
definitely,
can stay
like-
out of my club.
Yeah, right?
That
Yeah.
bugged the shit out of me.
Right.
Like, this is, I became very, like, you know, this is ours, and I don't want it.
Right.
You know,
Right, there are definitely people that go to shows and they, you know, they don't get it,
yeah,
right? They don't get it.
Yeah.
They're seeing something different than what's actually happening. And then they just like, oh, dude, yeah, you just punch people, shove people.
Like, they're not going there to contribute.
That's
They're-
not. You might think you're seeing that, but that's not really what's happening, you know. And you can't explain it. It's just like you just go away.
I felt like those scenes were about, like, everyone who came there kind of contributed something to it, and then you get these people who are just there to, like, inflict themselves on everyone else, and it's like, I didn't think about that at the time, but I'm kind of looking back on it now. Like, most of the people of our scene, like, it felt like they made something, or they did something, or they're in a band, or at least they just really gave a shit about the people who were making zines and doing bands. And then you get these people from the outside who are just like, "Oh, is this cool now? Fuck." I'm
Oh,
going there and punch some people.
It was Lex's Pyramid of Hardcore.
What's this?
She had Lex. Mark knows what I'm talking about.
yeah.
She
I
had
didn't
this.
explain it that well.
She had this
in that
philosophy of the like hardcore was like a pyramid, and each level were people that contributed in
right,
some
right.
way, right? Because everyone was an active contributor. Lex, someone involved with us in our hardcore scene. who, you know, I mean, and she was in a band early on. She didn't continue on with it, but it would have been, if Lex had been, well, she did with Ricky Tikki Tavi, but if Lex had continued being a band, she would have played some of the same shows and would have had support from, you know, from most of us or all of us. I don't know of any situation where anyone actively discouraged women from being involved in what we were doing. But I think what ends up, now looking back, there ends up being kind of like, did you do enough to encourage it?
Right.
And I think it's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
But I think it has to be asked without malice.
Sure, and that's kind of my point. Like, I think, like, it's 2018. I see these bands, and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Like, there's not more.
It even seems like less.
And, like, yeah, kind of like, you know, so I've had the thought, you know, and, like, actually my, you know, ex-sister-in-law now, Kate 08, I said to her, you know, she played guitar in 108, you know, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I actually said to her, I'm like, yeah, I just feel like I guess we didn't really do enough, right? I just felt like there should be more. Like, because when Kate did those 108 reunions where she played and it was like a big deal, everyone's like, oh, you know, it's like, it shouldn't be a big deal. Why is it a big deal? It's 2018. It shouldn't be. I guess we fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I've had those thoughts for sure.
I hope we've covered this. I mean, it was more serious than I thought we'd get into today. But, like, you know, I mean, I put out a call for questions and the question came up. And, I mean, it's legitimate. And I have always felt like, so look, we can all sit around and think we were awesome, but maybe, like, someone look at from the outside and feel like they were more of an outsider than we knew they were feeling like at the time or something, you know. I'm not talking about the person specifically that asked the question. I just mean anyone who was there. And I remember having conversations about it at the time where thinking that we were very, very inclusive. And then every once in a while someone would be like, no, you're not. It's like, what the you got to know my heart. I want you in with me, but maybe that's not enough.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, there's other. I mean, this doesn't go to gender, but I've had friends be like, "Hey, I was in it." Like, this goes to Murph's kindergarten logic from his podcast of people saying, "I'm in a band, you're in a band, we should be friends." You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. It makes zero fucking sense. How does that?
Unless you're a kindergartner.
Yeah, right.
Then it makes perfect sense.
There were, and with this person, I'm friends with him now, and I was like, yeah, dude, just because you play guitar and I play guitar doesn't mean we were gonna fucking hang out. We also had lives outside of this. Like, I'm dating somebody. I did a couple semesters in school. So not always meeting somebody at a show and having them come up to you and be like, I'm in a band, you're in a band, or we're in the same scene, let's go fucking hold hands and get ice cream. It doesn't fucking work that way, man. I'm still thinking about, you know, loading the gear, or is Murph going to kick my ass if I don't load the gear? You know, like, I guess for me, if I was unapproachable back in the day, it was partly just because that's who I am, and the scene's great, the kids are fucking great, that's all cool, but there were times where it's like, yeah, I'm on to, you know, what time's we going to get the van home, and, you know, you're just on to other things, and you can't always... I wasn't always able to engage at the moment that person wants to engage. I remember this happened in Shift too, where people were like...
But you were definitely the band worker. Like, in terms of, like, booking things, and, I mean...
Yeah.
You played a role that kind of necessitated you being a little more business.
Yeah, but there were even times where it's like, man, I don't even want to fucking be at a show. I'd rather hang out with Michelle. I've been hanging out with these guys constant, you know... Like, I just want to be fucking left alone. Truly, I'm an introvert. So there were times when people would come up and be like, I really like your band, and what are you doing next, and what guitar are you playing? And I would just shut them down, like, dude, I'm not in the fucking mood. Not in the fucking mood, you know? And I wouldn't say that. I'm saying it now. So if I was ever unapproachable, it wasn't on purpose, you know? Well, let me walk that one back, yeah. There are definitely times where it was like, yeah. There were other things going on.
It was on purpose, but there were reasons, damn it.
No, there were reasons, and sometimes it was just like, this is
Was
my
it personal?
space. Yeah, we just played a show. I'm tired. You know, I got to work in the morning, whatever, making sandwiches. You know, I don't know. People's expectations when you get off the stage is that, like, if I can get 5 minutes with this person, we're gonna be besties. You know, like, I just saw you on stage. We like the same music. If I can just talk to Pettibone for 5 minutes, we're gonna fucking hang out. You know, and I just don't think that's reasonable.
It's interesting, though.
I must have trapped you guys at the perfect moment.
It's
I'm gonna be friends with those guys.
It's hard, though. Like, it's so taking myself into the role of the person in the crowd, right? When you relate to someone's art, you feel close to them, even though they don't know who the hell you are, and they've had a chance, like, the person in the crowd has a chance to know about you. They can see your pictures, they can read about you, they hear your lyrics, and they hear your music, and they form a connection with you that you have not formed with them. So there's, like, an expectation when you meet somebody like that.
Yeah.
To, like, I feel ways about you that you couldn't possibly feel about me, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a
And some of the
tricky
stuff we
thing,
sang about
being a
was
fan.
also a connector to the crowd. Like we had a song about being vegetarian. We did have we have an atheist song. We have a song about an anti-homophobic song. So there were connectors in there that would bring. I mean, we obviously we wanted an audience and play in front of these people. But yes, there were definitely times where if somebody was like, "You were a fucking dick back then," I was like, "Well, maybe that night I had something else on my fucking mind, and I don't have the fucking time for you to talk about the new fucking statue record that's coming out. You know, I just don't have the fucking time, dude."
that seemed very specific.
No, I swear to God, I'm just tossing out like band names that aren't around that I'm not gonna fucking insult. You know,
Maybe I hated your green sweatshirt.
and then
you
there
look like a dick.
and we definitely wanted to build the scene too. So there were times where it's like, yeah, we're like getting off stage, and it's like, yeah, I do want to talk to you about this. We are excited, but sometimes when people are like, you know, you were a dick back in the day, I was like, yeah, I was, but let's put it in perspective. It's all about perspective. Maybe that night I just wasn't fucking having it, and maybe the next time you saw me, I was having it, man. We had a great time. I just getting off stage, man. Like, fucking leave me alone.
What's time like? You got time for a couple more questions?
Go all night.
Yeah.
This one's
Texan.
about music and influence. This is from Jay. He says, "What inspired the slow tempos? Was it more the sound in their heads, or was it the climate of the time period? And who were some of your key influences musically?"
It's all you, man.
It's all Mark, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Murph. It's got to be some Murph too.
Oh yeah, no, we talked about this last night, I think.
Yeah,
where,
and I don't remember any of this,
Yeah,
but I'll
this is
let
a
Mark
good
tell
one.
it.
So we were writing faster stuff. There was fast stuff in there, and there was a period where I was coming in and everything was a mid-tempo shit. And I remember Murph being like, "Dude, nope, you know, like not today."
I remember that.
Yeah, it was at your parents' house in the garage, and he was like, "Dude, you got to stop writing this mid-tempo shit. I want to play something fucking fast." And I think that's where Escape came out of it, because I think Damien was like, you know, you wanted to do like some cymbal stops. There was a Burn song that had some stops, so something got built out of that. But there were definitely times where I remember Murph saying once, like, "Dude, if you play F to E, F to E, F to E one more fucking time, you know, I'm walking out of this fucking room." So then it was like, okay, well, I've got to incorporate an A. So as far as the tempo stuff, I don't know. I mean, I used to just write at home on an acoustic guitar and be like, I think this will be cool. The slower stuff, I just don't know, man. Sometimes a riff would just come and you're like, well, that's got to be something. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the time, just that time, like the early '90s, there was just slower hardcore. You know, it was like a little more metal,
And we
slower.
loved
it. Yeah,
No
and
Escape
We
and
totally
Burn.
loved it. You know,
Those came
and-
out. It was like game changers.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So we were influenced by all of that. Absolutely.
I think part of me, now that I'm thinking about it too, is like, it's really the fast songs. You end up with this. I don't want to name names. You could end up with a 7-inch that all kind of sounds the same. Like a fast riff. Maybe it was harder to write a good fast riff that was original.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
literally it's like like where's the fucking identity of our band in this? So I think probably some of that was like, I don't know how to write another fucking fast song where it's undertone. We don't sound like this group and this group.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was a revival of like the '88 hardcore coming through in like the mid '90s as well.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, some of those
And then
songs,
everything sounded the same.
yeah.
Like, fuck, I was a part of that. I'll own it. You know, like, shit.
Like,
Yeah, paper bag hardcore. I mean, Jesus Christ, anyone could write this shit.
I mean, there's like, we haven't played Escape at like any of the reunions. I think maybe the one we did in like '98, because it's like a cool song, shit, I guess, but there's nothing really going on there, right? So when we come up with the set list, we've all got ideas of where I'm excited about this. This is a great way to start, a great way to finish, great middle. Escape, we never really fucking play anymore, and that's a good example of like a fast song that's like, what's going on there? Does it sound like Undertow? It does, because it's us, but I can't remember how it goes. Like, you know, it's like, okay.
I don't know what it sounds like at all.
I seem to remember we wrote that like really quickly.
Yeah.
But I think one thing we also liked our sets to kind of be varied, like not every song to sound like the song before it or
Yeah.
after it.
Yeah.
I feel like the record kind of ended up that way too. It's like I think the one really slow song on the record, you're like, we should have a slow song. Like
Oh
something
yeah.
really
Where do we
fucking
go
slow.
from here?
Yeah.
That was another
Like
one where it's
something
like
simple
E,
and
F,
slow.
E, F, E, F. That would have been right at the end of like, dude, you play those two notes
Yeah,
together.
we got enough.
But that had that cedar chord that I like so much.
Yeah.
The
I think,
dissonant E or
I think
whatever.
towards the end, though, like the Control 7-inch, all that shit, like that was definitely mid-tempo, slower, but I don't know. Like to me, my recollection of that, we were just kind of like we found like some kind of like sweet spot. You know what I mean?
Well, 1623 is on that. I fucking love
That's
that
a good
song,
song,
man.
yeah.
1623 and Pin are my two favorite fast songs that we play. Like, I fucking get off on that shit. And we didn't even finish 1623 until we were in the studio. We finished it the day of.
Oh, really?
Remember that?
I remember that.
Like, the fucking ending to it, I think we had two options. I mean, they were so similar. It was like, okay, we're either going da-da-da, or we're going da-da-da. It was something like that. Like, we were literally like, we need to finish the song. Clint's like, cool, I'll go get falafel or something. I'll be back in an hour, and you guys better have this finished. And we fucking did it in the studio. Remember that?
Somebody has
That's one
you wrote,
that ends with the cymbals ringing out too. Like we really wanted that.
Yeah.
Did we stop it? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think you wrote the end. I mean, I just remember
Oh,
being
maybe.
at Clint's, and we were like, well, how are we going to finish this song? And it was like, typical. I mean, like Murph said, I think we were in a fucking zone where it was, we could just do it. I don't know.
talking about influences and the kind of there's another question that was down in one of the conversations that actually talks about that a little bit. I'm going to change it a little bit. I'm going to come at it backwards and then get into what the guy asked. But do you think that most of your influence came from records that you bought, or would you say you were equally influenced by going and playing, especially in the early days, with a bunch of diverse different types of bands and seeing how they did it live?
I both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I was
is
gonna
it
say.
50-50?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. The equal weight for sure. I'd have to say.
Okay.
'Cause I definitely remember. Yeah, you go to Fallout, you buy a bunch of records, and you read like the fucking thanks list. You go and buy those records, and you do that, and you listen to it, and you're just like being like fucking 13, 14. Like it's like, dude, I just want to sound like this. And then you go and you see The Accused and fucking Gestures of Chaos. It's like, fuck that, I want to sound like that. You know what I mean? So it's like it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay. So this person was asking about your reflections on the period where Undertow would be playing more shows with bands like 1007 and Positive Greed. And what he's saying is, do you know a point where all of those scenes diverged from each other? Can you kind of pinpoint it and what caused it? And specifically, he wants to know if his perspective is skewed and there wasn't ever really as much scene overlap as he has in his head. This specific question is my perspective is I was a really young punk and it was skewed because there was not really scene overlap. And I feel like there was scene overlap. I think he's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I think he's remembering
think,
it right.
Like the party hall era was probably the scene overlap.
Yeah.
Because then you go into the Redmond Y, and there was scene overlap, and all different bands played together, but it was
different
Positive Greed wasn't around
it was
anymore,
different scenes.
and it's almost like there was different scenes, but the scene that was like Seattle, like those guys, those people, like matured or went on and started developing different tastes.
Yeah.
Well, I think in this case, at least partially early on, physical location had a lot to do with it because the party hall as a thing, like the scene overlap at the party hall was like hardcore, like straight edge, hardcore, and fucking Seattle punk rock, right? And there was overlap. There was a brief moment where there was like some schism between those two
Yeah.
scenes. It didn't last long, but there was a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the party hall goes away, and what's next? There was not a lot of options in Seattle, right? And so then like the Redmond Y and shit like that, but there were no Seattle punks really. Like that, there was a different.
Yeah,
that was
that's
like
what
the
I was trying to
1007. That was the east side.
Yeah.
So you have overlap, but it's a different type of overlap, and I think it had a lot to do with physical location. Absolutely, right? I mean, we had a fucking lake and some strong demographic profiles separating. You know what I mean?
Yes. It always has felt to me that one of the biggest problems your scene can have is succeeding to the point where you have enough people that you don't need anyone else from any other scene to fill your show or to make your show happen.
And I think that when Murph was talking about the schism towards the end of the party hall, it's because all of our friends in our high school that started getting the community aspect of it started coming.
Yeah.
Like, because I grew up, in North Bend, and I would bring out a carload of friends, and these guys would bring a carload of friends from up north, you know, and it's all of a sudden from us
And
4 or
we joined-
5 of us
Yeah.
playing these punk shows and it being cool and realistic, all of a sudden there was 30 of us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that the straight edge coin term when it came to that, because there'd be 20, 30 of us now, was almost, even though none of us we were all there for the community of it, but on the other aspect of things, that, you know,
I think we were
the punker than thou types
Yeah.
saw us as
We were the
maybe
fucking-
a threat.
Yeah, we were the cockroaches infesting
like
the fucking
it's like
scene.
it was almost like oh yeah, the poison idea thing of like fuck straight edge, fuck that shit. You know, like we don't need those kids anymore. And then the party was gone. So there was never any kind of end result when it came to that idea of like, oh, where's it going to go from here? You know, type scenario. You know.
Yeah.
Then you get.
And then we play with poison idea, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. That was a good show.
And I
Fucking
remember
incredible.
there was beef and there was schism and it was tense. And I remember, I distinctly remember Econochrist playing the party hall.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't like a huge turnout. And I remember like the drummer for Last Gasp, who I think he would like fucking hated all of us, you know, like wanted to kill us or something. But like, I honestly was just like, I don't give a fuck, man. I love Last Gasp. I love all that shit. I love Aspirin Feast. And Iconochrist shows up, and like Ben's like totally straight edge, you know what I mean? But in Iconochrist,
Yeah.
and it's like, and then I think after that, like my memory of it, anyways, is like the beef was kind of like it wasn't so bad after that. So,
Yeah, it went on for a little while.
Did it?
It was strange.
yeah,
It kind of felt manufactured for a while.
Well, there was a fight between Ajax and Bauer. That I
Right.
remember being the catalyst.
Punk's dead, you're
right.
next.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that was another one when you were talking
Holy
about
shit.
the vegan
I
right
wish I could've
Bauer
seen
fight.
that.
Yeah.
I believe Ajax picked up Bauer and as a hug, as like, hey buddy, I'm fucking with you. I'm drunk, you're straight edge, whatever. And Bauer turned around in his arms while he's off his feet, and Bauer hit him like 3 times. Something like that. There was a fight between Bauer and Ajax, and I think that kind of broke up the friendliness between Bauer's a straight edge kid, Ajax is not, and
Right.
we're all cool, but I think that was
Tension.
that's one story I remember. I
Yeah.
don't know if that was the catalyst.
Yeah,
of
Ron got
things.
caught up, was involved in that a little
Yeah,
bit.
Ron-
That was the
yeah.
genesis of the idea that
Really,
became
Ron?
my stupid movie.
Weird.
But then there's a
Ron
little bit-
antagonizing people, huh?
Yeah. What do you know?
Wow.
But then there was always that kind of not scenario. There was just that vibe of, because then there was the Hellbound House doing shows and the Goat House doing shows, and we go to shows there, and you just didn't feel comfortable, and not like any of us
Because
gave
the
a fuck,
scenes were
but-
big enough to each feel that they had
Yeah.
enough, and that's
Exactly.
there's your diversity killer.
Yeah,
Because
totally.
because then there was that show, was it Trial? Or
Trial at the
maybe-
Goat House.
and it just fucking all hell broke loose, and we were just
No, it
fucking
was-
fighting everybody.
There was some shit there.
Yeah.
yeah. It's just like
I was all caught up because there were kids at that show that said they were hardline. So I got a whole new battle to fight
Well,
at that.
that's right.
I think the bigger question is
They
why
threatened
you
my
guys
life
on trial
later.
show.
I wasn't there, dude.
Wait, wait.
ask the same question.
What did you say?
I said, the bigger question is why are you guys at a trial?
That was a good show.
It's a great show.
Actually, it was a very good show. Holy shit!
Shots fired.
Yeah, that's an old one.
I'm not giving that one up, man.
You're not giving that one up? I didn't know it was you that was holding on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is. I didn't know it either.
Yeah,
that's
man.
hilarious.
It's like that's it. I mean, you're right. Diversity. It's just tribalism, right?
There you go.
Human nature.
Yeah. I mean, once we had bands
Fuck
that
people.
kind of sounded like Undertow
Well-
to play with, that's what people booked for us. Like, oh, you guys are going to play Serenity, and you're going to play with, I don't know, there's other bands. I'm sure there was.
Botch was coming up too. I mean,
Yeah,
all of a sudden there was like more
And-
hardcore bands.
And they faced a lot. I know Botch. It's stuck in their craw. They faced a lot of. There was a lot of pushback against them when they were first coming in. Like they hadn't paid their dues.
They did. Their first show had like 3 Earth Crisis covers. They deserve some of that flack.
But I mean, if you want it, oh, maybe they
And they
did.
asked
But
if they could be straight edge.
They asked.
Yeah, I was at Fallout, and Dave was like, "Hey, I'm in this band Botch," and I was like, "I know who you are."
they were at Undertow math piece in your garage.
Yeah.
They're in the pictures in the crowd.
Can we be
Really? A
straight
couple of
edge?
them are.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't know they asked to be straight edge.
I don't know.
I didn't know that either.
You know what I've done?
I didn't
may
know
have-
that was a thing.
Well,
I
you
mean, I
have to
appreciate
figure out
the-
what the thing is when you're young.
I don't know. I just
Like, it's
fucking
funny,
X'd
but,
up,
like-
man. I was like,
Well, listen, if Botch ever had anything to prove, they fucking proved it.
sure, yeah. They did a
Blows out
lot,
of the
man.
water. Shit.
Because they got shit from peers, and they had to prove it. Like, there is something to that. There's a little bit of, like...
I remember that show that we played with them at Ground Zero, and like Sabatini was such a fucking prick to them.
Who?
Yeah, he stood like right in the front of the stage and like he poked Dave or just like kind of antagonized Vrelin while he was singing. And they were pretty terrible back then at that time, but they had just been a band for like 3 months or something.
Yeah.
And they were trying to like, be part of it. And there was definitely, I don't know how much of it was just Sabatini.
Oh,
I probably contributed to it.
Sure,
as well.
like so.
This is a pet
full
peeve of mine
disclosure,
forever.
we were all fucking pretty young and immature, and yeah, I'm sure we all said
If
and
there's something
did
to make
horrible
fun of,
things
we
to
probably
people,
did.
right? Like,
I'm sure we had egos. You
Well,
know?
it's
We
it's
were
always
just-
been strange that, like, bands will get better, and then bands of younger people will start playing and they won't be good, and everyone will say they suck. It's like, well, no, they're at that point in their evolution as a band, and they may never become the good band, but you don't know. Some of these people are going to come back and, like, put it in your face because they're going to be better,
Yeah.
you know, than the thing you
Kids
did,
all
or
turned into Blood
they're going to
Brothers,
be
and you're
awesome.
Like, oh, they can play fucking circles around me. God damn it.
Well, just
Exactly, and
like
it's
even joining, getting asked to play bass, like the day before being asked to play, they're my favorite. Refuse is my favorite band, and they're my friends. But at that time, because first is Brotherhood, and that changed my life because that changed my life. And then
Murph is air drumming.
I meet dudes that are my age
Yeah.
that are in a band, and that's exciting to me. And then I'm being asked to join it, and it's that I felt that myself. Like, dude, they're my favorite band. They're asking me. I don't know how to play a fucking one note of anything. It's
don't.
like in the true fact. True fact. So that aspect of things, I get it, but like, what's awesome is that they didn't give up. A lot of those
Yeah.
kids never gave up.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
No matter what. I mean, some of my friends at that time back then went to school with those dudes and gave them a ton of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like, fucking why? Like, more the merrier. Well, at least they're trying, You guys aren't doing shit.
Yeah.
Just being fucking assholes as far as I'm concerned.
Going back a little bit to the diversity killer thing, but it's almost like there's a lesson. I don't know how you fucking learn any kind of lesson from this stuff, but like, you've got to keep mixing stuff up.
Yeah.
And you said, like,
Or break up.
did we not do enough? I don't know how.
Yeah,
like,
what are you supposed to do?
there's no tribunal that you answer
There's
to.
no answer.
Like, there's no, but like, yeah. Is there some way that you can look at, you don't learn from the past or repeat it or whatever? It's like,
Yeah, I
it's
don't
almost
know.
like the earth just wants different things mixed together.
Right.
And then for some reason, for some people, they just want everything separated out by, all the M&Ms and the different colors got to
Well,
be in the
yeah, I
different
mean,
bowls.
so we're going to get into, like, what's the fucking definition of human nature? And, like, there's going to be a million different answers. But, if you ask me, fucking people suck.
Yeah.
And they're just going to gravitate to fucking shitty tribalism, and, like, they don't like what they don't know. Or I don't like wearing all black, so I'm going to go hang out with these people. Or I only wear all black, so that's my uniform, that's my team. Like, that shit happens all the fucking time.
Yeah. There was a moment where we all
Black
looked around
tees.
at the 5 black T-shirts that were.
I mix it up.
Oh yeah, but Murph mixed it up with some
Board
blue
shorts.
shorts, and I of course don't have anything printed on my shirt because all my shit was dirty. But we're looking at some sweet T-shirts here. Wait, what is yours, Damien?
It says Cloakroom. It's got a goat on a skateboard.
That is pretty
Perfect.
good. Then we got Life's Blood, Corrosion of Conformity, and Neurosis. Word is law, right? Right. Old Neurosis. Well, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. And then just nothing. I'm just whatever. I'm the host. It doesn't mean anything.
We're identifying our tribe right now.
Yeah, exactly. The black T-shirt tribe. But you know what? I don't.
That's all they fucking make.
I always think it's funny. Like my niece pointed out to me on Father's Day that I wear black, and I'm like, wow. She like noticed that. Like, I'm like, is that strange? And she was just like kind of shrugged and kind of laughed. And whatever. She's a teenage girl, but like it is weird. Like I don't think about it, But apparently it's a thing.
Yeah. I don't know. It is a thing.
Yeah. Kids at a young age, like, recognize that stuff. Like, how people dress and how people look, too. It's sad.
We're black because it reflects on how I feel on the inside.
Oh no,
Right on.
that's a
I feel on the inside.
oh
Isn't it weird
boy.
how much of a piece of shit Morrissey's turned into?
John, I need to talk to you
bummer.
about that. What how are you feel? What are your feelings about Morrissey
I
right
gave
now?
up on him a long time ago.
Do you still listen to the old Morrissey?
Of course.
Okay, so you will separate out the old art from the new perspective, or from the new whatever.
Sure.
I don't know if you can listen to older music like that without being nostalgic to a point anyway. Like, I think you can't listen to it without there being some context. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, it's fine. But I gave up on him a long time ago before all this recent stuff had been coming up and whatnot.
Where he talks about the
Strictly.
loony left and all
Yeah,
that.
just fucking, He's always dabbled, but I also, a good friend of mine is his guitar tech. And for years he's told me things, and I'm just like, terrible. But you know what? When he comes to town, I still go. He doesn't get my money, that's for sure. Actually,
you worked with
my
his
for my
drummer. Well,
40th
You've got a
birthday.
great story about getting the shirt.
Huh?
You've got that great story about getting the shirt.
Yeah, that was the last time I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But my sister and I, for my 40th birthday, we're going down to Oakland to see him, and my mom wanted to come, so I thought that was kind of awesome that mom wanted to come. See a band or a group or a singer of someone that we'd grown up listening to, and an hour before the show, we'd gotten to our hotel in Oakland, and he canceled the show. And I texted my friend, who's the tech, and was like, "Oh, why'd he cancel?" He goes, "Oh, the drummer, got drumstick shrapnel in his eye." And I was like, "He can fucking go out and sing by himself with an acoustic guitar. Don't fucking cancel. What the fuck?" And so from then on, it's just kind of like, whatever. Stupid.
I with Shift
Stick shrapnel.
with Shift
Fucking pussy.
the original drummer for Morrissey. I can't think of his fucking name.
Spencer Corbin.
Yeah, so he did some work on the Shift record, doing some sequencing and stuff. So he hung out with us for like 3 days, and me and him hit it off pretty quick. And I was like, oh, all my friends are going to get boners when they find out I'm fucking hanging out with somebody in Morrissey. So I was asking him Morrissey stories. And he's like, that guy's a total fucking piece of shit. I've gotten kicked out of the band a couple times. And at one point, him and the bass player got kicked out, and they were like homeboys from back in the day. They went to his house and like carved, we're gonna like fuck you Morrissey in his fucking $10,000 door,
God,
and
that's
left
rad.
their fucking switchblades in the door. Yeah, he's like, fuck that dude. And then Morrissey went and did another run, and I saw Spencer on TV at David Letterman. And I was like, I fucking know that dude. And then yeah, we would run into him every once in a while in New York City. He's a really fucking good guy and really down to earth, and it's just like, I fucking hate that dude, but sometimes I get paid a large amount of money but I'll still stick a fucking knife in his fucking door.
Now, of all of us, Murph, you were the one that probably
I don't give a fuck. I never cared about Morrissey. Never liked him.
never liked him.
Doesn't
And you
matter
never
to
liked
me.
him either?
No, I like the last Smiths record, and then you hear it so much from being around all the people who love the Smiths. Now I get it all, but I was never. I did like Strange Ways Here We Come, right? Is that the fucking record? So that was cool, but the Morrissey stuff.
But what I
didn't get
appreciate
at all.
about both of you, and I'm pointing right now my fingers at Mark and Murph, is that you both liked The Cure,
Yeah.
but didn't like Morrissey.
Yeah.
Which really means
Totally different.
Which means you have taste. And no offense. I mean, I like both, but
Cure
like,
changed my life.
but if you're going to like cut one out, like you got to cut the right one out.
I think with the Smiths and Morrissey, from in my perspective, I missed something. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I got into like Celtic Frost and fucking SSD, and by the time like I'd heard the Smiths and Morrissey, I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? You know what I mean? Like it's a waste of fucking time.
It's also like another thing too is it's all like for me it's all jangly fucking guitars. At least the Cure had like fucking pedals. They got fucking there's stuff going on there that moody,
Yeah.
And for me,
Yeah.
the Smith stuff was just like la 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 la. I was like, I don't fuck, man. I get it. Like I like I said, I really like that record, but I prefer Joy Division over that.
Certainly. I mean, for me, I'm not making an excuse, but it was Smiths were like the first thing like after Toys I was really into. Like my best friend growing up, he had an older sister who loved that stuff, so she would like give me tapes of like U2 on one side and the Smiths on the other, and I was like, oh, this is great. And so I went from like Transformers to Morrissey.
Well, and it's okay. That's funny. I don't know how it relates into the like discussion we had earlier about women in bands and women in hardcore bands specifically. But like you're talking about like being into metal, you know, and a lot of guys get into like really aggressive music, and most of the guys I knew in high school were not guys that listened to The Cure, right?
Yeah.
And or Morrissey or the Smiths or any of that.
Yeah. But
All that influence came into me from women that I
Yeah.
wanted to be around in high school.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of that, but I think in some ways I got more out of that music in the long run. But the point is like I knew guys that were into The Cure, but I knew a lot more women that were into The Cure.
Right.
You know, I talked with it's certainly on Soto's episode about this too. He's kind of got this had a lot of the same take on it. You know, it was nice to be able to relate to women that I went to high school with with music.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they weren't going to relate on Cro-Mags.
Yeah. Well, for me, like,
and when they
Jesus
did, awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm like in my mid 40s. I'm just figuring this shit out, right? But like, Jesus Christ, I've been like fucking depressed forever. You know, like I was not a happy child. So I hear like Slayer, and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go murder. You know, and it's like, but it's like a survival mechanism, right? Like, throw up the walls. No one can fucking touch me now. You know what I mean? And this music's a great soundtrack for that. But then on the other side of it, I hear The Cure and I'm like, okay, now I just want to hug my teddy bear and fucking cry because that's what this shit's bringing out. And I dig it. I'm connecting. You know what I mean? Yeah, shit like that. You know, you connect to music different ways. You know, and the Cure is one of those bands I just connected with because like they were like moody and emotional, right? And I didn't know it. You know, I think back now and I can get all philosophical about it, but yeah, like I connected with it on like some emotional level. Like I used it to cope with whatever was going on in my shitty life as a kid, you know?
It had an authenticity, I think, reflected to younger people. Like,
Without
worked with me.
Here's what I like. Without the perspective of life, we identified these types of music as good. As something that were like, you related to it on a pure emotional unknown level.
Yeah.
It's like with all the music that was out there to hear, you would hear something like The Cure or some punk rock band or hardcore band, and it would resonate in you. And you didn't have the words. You didn't have like you said, you're in your 40s. You can look back and say why you think it was. You didn't know then. You just knew that you reacted to it.
Yeah. Like most of the music I still love to this day. Like I think about it. I'm like, God, why did I like this band? You know what I mean? Like I'm always thinking about shit like that. And like almost everything is like I can connect it back with like I just related to it. It brought some emotion out in me. You know what I mean? In some way or another, where it was fucking anger disguised as, you know what I mean? Like anger, but it was really something else. But like it came out as anger, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of the metal stuff, right? And then The Cure was something else. You know, like it all kind of, you know. And music is when I hear new music. Some of it I'm like does nothing for me.
Yeah.
A lot of it, most of it. But then every once in a while I hear something like shit. I fucking dig this, you know, like, whatever, you know, Chelsea Wolfe or something, right? Like, yeah, like, let's fucking die now. Like, I can relate. I dig it, you know? Like, like, music is just, it's emotional. And I think hardcore is emotional, right? Like, it's intense. It's a different type of emotion, but it's emotional.
Yeah, I felt like we didn't...
Not emo, though.
I felt like we didn't care
does that
whether
mean?
something was good or not, either. Like, that didn't register, like, if it was good. It was just, this is something I connect to.
Well, good to me never meant technically proficient.
Right. But I mean, I think there's a level of like people around you growing up, like parents being like, "Oh, this music's awesome," or "Check out Jethro Tull," or whatever. This, you know, shit like that, which maybe was for technical reasons, but it just that never struck me as meaning anything. Like we had bomb shelter videos out here, which kids don't get that kind of thing anymore. They don't get that level of diverse weird shit curated to just a weirdo. Like we'd fucking get channel 22 and or UHF channel or whatever and try to watch this half hour of just fucked videos from all over the world. And you'd see like Angry Samoans and Youth of Today and fucking The Accused or whatever, and you get all this cool shit and you're like, fuck, this is awesome. But there wasn't a moment where I was like, my dad's gonna be so impressed with this. I remember the first time I played something for my dad that I thought he would like. It was that Tool song Sober. And he did think it was good, but thinking back on it, I was like, man, my dad must think I was such a fucking dork. Like here's this video with like these puppets and like I got like the promo VHS at the record store.
Wasn't that right around the time you were coming to visit me at Kinko's in the middle of the night?
Probably.
And like getting pulled over for
Creepy.
Yeah, he used to come visit me at Kinko's in Bellevue in the middle of the night when I was working
what?
graveyard. It's just to hang out and like make a zine or something, right?
Yeah, because back then it was no big deal to drive to fucking from Bothell.
But you
to
got pulled
Philadelphia.
over. You got pulled over because you didn't know how fast you were going because you were singing along to Sunny Day Real Estate.
That's right, man. I fucking love that.
And I think the cop let
band.
you off when you explained that.
Yeah, and he also saw I was white, so he.
That's exactly what I was going with it.
That's some fucking white
Why are you
privilege right
speeding?
there.
I was playing Public Enemy. I'm trying to think of something from the time.
Yeah,
Public
like,
Enemy.
Oh, I was really into fucking fuck the police. Yeah, dude, those are good times.
Definitely. Well, okay, we're probably gonna run down here in a minute, but let me just see what else we got here. I know Markley asked something. Well, this is okay. I told him that you actually went into this on your episode, John, but it's not asked the exact same way you went into it. He said, "Who had the slick hair first, Undertow or Unbroken?" And you talked
Fucking
about it.
cares. Well, I brought it up because when we showed up to the Unbroken tour in Detroit, like they had dreads. You were pretty dirty.
I think I did
Damien was
green
like,
hair.
yeah, green.
Where I fucked up.
And
What's
like-
his name's couch? I
yeah.
can't remember. Who was this? Austin?
Probably a spaz shirt on. And then I had the slicked hair, and then Unbroken was all slicked hair except Dave, and he had dreadlocks maybe?
No.
Or he was dirty or something.
I don't even know.
Whatever. Who cares?
I don't remember.
But it was
being
like
on the
two. It was
tour.
like you guys fit together like puzzle
But
pieces.
you know what? Like that, like when Said Child was popping up and like we were starting to dress like that and stuff. My influence wasn't so much like this Morrissey and his band at that time. I was like Mike Ness. Like I was getting into like rockabilly and swing dance and shit like that. That was the kind of the thing I was getting into.
Were you
But,
kind
I
of
mean,
pissed
I don't-
off
like,
when that big swing revival happened and it like blew up your spot?
Oh, totally. So mad. So mad. Dude. My swing class
I like
was
using
just
that
like,
old term.
No. But I think the San Diego guys were doing it because like Rocket from the Crypt was starting to get popular,
yeah.
and so that look was starting to get. And like Mike Denny had what Twist was that his that side project thing he was doing,
Oh.
and he was all greased out and stuff and stuff.
Remember you put butter in his hair?
But he came up, yeah.
really?
When Force Down played, he
Jesus.
was all like slicked back, so it was kind of like, ooh,
Oh, Mike down.
Mike Down.
I got some funny off-air stories for you.
Oh, good.
No, he ended up later when I was in New York, like 98 or something like that. Kill Holiday came out. I think it was Kill Holiday. A bunch of those dudes came out, and Mike, we ran into Mike, and he was like a bartender somewhere, so we hung out with him. And then when those guys split, he was bartending, and this is before I drank, but he was bartending at a place like 2 blocks away from my house. So there was a good run of running to Mike Down quite a bit and listening to his new projects and other stuff. So
It's funny.
yeah.
I think I stayed with Kill Holiday, like I just coincidentally at your house once.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, we're talking about that one off the air too. Because I had to. Ah, fuck it, I'm not saying it.
But anyways, I remember they were on
Yeah,
tour.
yeah.
and
You came with a friend.
I came
believe.
out. I was just getting back from tour. I needed a place. I was like, that was when I was
Yeah.
like homeless for like 6 months.
There was a futon and a friend.
I
was
was
that trip?
Is that when you moved out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was like I moved out of
Yeah.
Queens before New Brunswick,
Yeah.
and I was just
Yeah.
couch surfing between tours.
Mhm.
Yeah, my crush with Mark
Yeah.
and Kill Holiday one night.
Yeah. It was definitely Kill Holiday, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
know 100% Steve
it
was
totally
there.
was. It
and
totally
Eric
was.
there.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%.
I feel like Eric was there, but he wasn't in Kill Holiday, right? June, Barry, right? Do I have this right?
Mm-hmm.
And Oscar?
And
I think maybe Eric was
Todd.
Was Todd?
Oh, sorry, guys. Don't know.
Oh, we can
And
clear
Fritz.
we can clear it all up.
You start naming off on Mitch.
Shit.
So as we're
Tony.
Seth from Portland, Seth Montfort, you guys might remember, he was asking about the Impromptu Brotherhood reunion and the time when Carrie filled in on bass in Refuse. You guys remember this? It was Washington Hall.
Yeah.
Brotherhood
Yeah,
thing,
I got
right?
photos.
Yeah.
I got photos in the other room with him on bass.
That was supposed to be
Wait.
Judge and Chain coming up, and they
I guess so.
didn't
That's
come.
right. They didn't come. They didn't
So
come.
it turned into being
And Ajax, Last Gas plays.
Last Gas
Ajax
whipped.
just heckled the fuck out of Judge and Chain, and everyone got a kick out of it
because they weren't there.
because they weren't there. They didn't show. Everyone was pissed at them, right?
Right.
This is just another fucking tour that they just fuck it. That's too far of a drive. They skipped us, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember being really bummed on that because I was excited they were coming, and my buddy Chris up in Bellingham was like, "They're not going to." And this was like a month before the show, and I'm like, "Don't this? Yes, they will. The flyers are out." Like, look.
Yeah.
And he was right. I was
Yeah.
so mad.
He
'Cause
jinxed
it's like, well, yeah, but it's like, they should have come.
Yeah, it's like they got SF in Salt Lake, and then like the drive to Seattle was just fuck it, not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone did it,
It's a brutal drive, but
Yeah.
but the
It
bands
is.
that didn't do that and they did show, they loved it.
Yeah, you
Like,
made relationships that
Remember
way
Go
for sure.
Bad Trip. Like,
Go
that
Bad Trip
shit
was
fucking
God,
insane,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Holy shit.
With the trampoline.
Yeah, I mean
Fucking
that
awesome.
fucking show was amazing.
So fun.
Party hall show with a trampoline with a mini tramp on the floor in the pit. People were like
Diving off it.
bouncing off that thing. Pre-kickboxing.
Yeah.
We could have learned it accidentally from that.
Awesome.
No, but so you said in
Uh-huh.
the picture albums you have out in the other room, you said you've got pictures of Carrie playing with Refuse at that show. It was
I did.
Undertow yet? It was Refuse then.
Refuse. He's wearing a Refuse shirt.
He's wearing a Refuse shirt.
Yeah,
Okay,
black
so Carrie, I'm gonna put
Yeah.
those up on the page. Some photos of you. He said, and then this must be an inside
Well, I
joke.
think-
He
I
says,
think
"How the
so.
hell did he manage to keep that hat on his head?" Does that make any sense to you? It's got to be an inside joke between Seth and Carrie.
No idea.
Remember him wearing a weird hat?
No. But I think Seth's in the picture too.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Okay, look, we went through essentially every question that people asked, which was nice.
cool.
Well, no. Amy Deshane wants to know what your marketing strategy is, but that's a long. She had a dream about you, John, and you were.
Oh, hey.
Oh, you know what?
How's it going?
I'm gonna read this because it's fun. It just says Pettibone was speaking to some kind of band music marketing event and telling the audience that they needed to have some kind of cash cow item that was continually bringing in money. In Undertow's case, it was a 7-inch. He was also talking about how the band was getting into newer branding opportunities like pop sockets.
It's a pop song.
I don't know. You were in her dreams. I don't know what a pop socket is, but it's funny sounding.
Cool.
So it's not a real question.
Thanks,
what,
Amy.
what is your
know.
what is your marketing strategy?
Undertow and
Nate.
marketing strategy are like,
Did not. No.
that's like no. We
think
never
we had a
had
look.
that shit. We
We
never
would have
discussed
rebelled
it.
against that too.
I think there was kind of a look with the records,
Oh yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
there was sort of.
Yeah, there's some branding there.
I mean, I was trying to rip off the fucking Swizz 7-inch or the Swizz LP. Of just like you don't see. I mean, at both ends you definitely see crowd shots and shit, but like all the covers are these black and white, blurry. So I think there was a theme.
Yeah,
Yeah, they look like Undertow
Really
records
theme.
for sure.
I wouldn't call it marketing strategy.
That was much fun. Well, so now I went through everything. I'm sure everyone will be thrilled that you addressed their questions. So guys, what else is going on?
We're not talking about politics, right?
Should we?
Please don't.
John doesn't want to do it.
We'll be here for hours.
Yeah, we'd be here for hours.
Well, here's a question that I didn't ask you, but I've asked these guys, and we never really gave answers. So, what is your favorite Undertow song? And now, for me,
okay.
and I'll put mine out there. Mine, I think, is probably Cedar because I'm an atheist, and I fucking love that we fucking sang about that, right? So it can be about the music, or the content. Like Cedar's not my favorite song to play, but as far as quote unquote being a political band and saying stuff on stage, that's one. That and Pin, obviously.
Yeah.
But like I was thinking about Cedar the other day, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, that's fucking rad." That I'm in a band with 4 atheists. Like, what if one of us was like fucking religious and was like, "Can't do
Weird.
it." So to me, that's like my favorite political statement. That I'm still like, "Yep, fuck yeah."
Yeah. I think as far as music goes, maybe 1623 is my favorite
Yeah.
musical song. It's fun to play. It's got some interesting shit. It was kind of... I think because after Undertow, I got into like weirder, noisier stuff with crazy chords. That was one of the first songs, like watching you play it and like, oh wow, these are like kind of odd fingerings. And like, like learning it myself, I was like, oh, this is really fun. Kind of opened my mind to like other ways of playing guitar. But I think maybe Pin as far as like just to play it. There was, because even, I mean, people won't maybe remember this, but there was kind of like especially in California, like a more homophobic side of straight edge down there. I remember it was actually like, it wasn't preaching to the choir, like when you would say like, gay rights or equal rights or whatever, like we play, fucking, Riverside or something like that. And there was a little contingency of this like kind of conservative part of straight edge.
made
that
them
existed.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. I like that. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, Christian bands down there.
Yeah. Fuck
Focus.
those guys too.
Oh, Christian hardcore?
Yeah.
Yeah, Focused was one of the bands.
Oh, it's a sucky name.
But I always felt like, because I remember Mandel would like yell at him and shit, and I mean a bunch of people would, and like religion does not have a fucking place in punk rock, and I always
no gods, no masters.
I always felt like fucking let them say what they want because we're going on after them and we're gonna say whatever we fucking want. So you got to go with the free speech.
Yeah.
You know, and you're into this. People are booing them and other people were cheering them. I just knew that we were gonna get up on stage and be like, "Fuck all that shit."
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I mean,
So,
I you know,
I'm down with
prob-
the free speech part.
at the time, I was probably like, yeah, fuck them. They got to get the fuck out. But, you know, like I said, like there shouldn't be any fucking rules. Like anyone
Yeah.
should be able to get up there and do what they want. Like,
let
but
them
the
humiliate
second you're like
themselves
a
all they want.
judgmental fucking prick,
Yeah, it doesn't mean I have to like them.
gloves are off. Then, all right, fuck you too. You know, asshole. Call you out. You
Yeah.
know? Well, let's do it.
Well, it's like 10 years later, you've got like a local band kicking a dude out because he comes out as gay because they're a Christian band. I
Yeah.
mean, that's so, and they're in the, hardcore scene. It's like, no,
Yeah.
no. I'm sorry. I'm not going to,
you know-
never going to your shows, never supporting anything any of you do.
You know, and-
Fuck you all.
And plus, we had fucking Shelter, right? And like 108, like these Krishna core bands, right? And it's like,
Ugh.
you know
But
what
see,
I mean?
you guys,
Like,
if you remember, I hated them.
well, I know, but most people was like, no, we're cool with that, man. That's acceptable. I'm like, is it? Why is that acceptable? And the fucking Christian hardcore band isn't, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, I think there's a level of the Krishna stuff where you're like, well, because it's basically Lord of the Rings and they're playing. It's like ridiculous make believe that they're playing. Like,
well, they fucking all are.
I know.
That's right.
I mean, it's unfair of me to just make fun of Krishna
Yeah.
and make fun of the other ones.
I mean,
Right,
if-
but Christian
if-
had the vegetarian aspect.
Yeah, like,
and so
if
that
anything-
felt like it.
Like, so my personal perspective on it was like, and I'll own it. I'm like, well, the Christian shit, they get a pass because there's not as many of them, and this
Yeah.
Christian shit's fucking everywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
They aren't mainstream culture.
yeah,
Christian punk is the mainstream trying to take what's good
yeah,
and vital about the subculture.
yeah.
There's
and
some
then-
cultural appropriation right there.
There you go. So it's like they were wearing our dreads.
Right. Fuck.
See how I
this.
bring it all
Was it the
around.
dude in Amenity who was telling you guys like it doesn't work? He's like
Yeah.
Sergio.
Yeah.
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 What?
He was
Sergio.
putting his two fingers together and he's like, man, it just doesn't fit. Look, they can't.
I might cut that part out.
You should.
Okay.
I don't know where he's at.
Because that's a long time ago,
long
right?
fucking time ago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it could have just been a fuck.
He could have been
There's-
joking.
You've got to have, like, there's a period of time where people come to their understanding.
Recorded with Vegan Right.
Fuck off, did he?
Oh,
Did he?
I think he did.
Oh,
yeah.
fucking leave it in then, man. Fuck him. Really nice guy and shit, but fucking holy shit, fuck that.
You get 2 strikes with us.
Yeah. We tried to keep it cool, but you fucking also played in that fucking band.
no, I mean, I don't
Fuck's
expect
sake.
people. I don't expect people to come out of the womb with their politics in place. You learn them through trial and error, and sometimes you're wrong and learn and have to turn on it. But that's why I expect when people are wrong for them to own it out loud and not just get quiet for a couple years and come back around and think everyone's cool stuff. I'm not talking about anyone specific.
Are you sure?
No. No, I'm not. I mean, but this is like, well, right now with the, okay, so when we're recording this, because the situation could be totally different, Trump's president, it's June of 2018. And there's a lot of people who were Trump supporters maybe 2 years ago that have gotten weirdly quiet about, these issues for some reason. I think just maybe, someone just mouthed the name at me, but here's the thing. You're not wrong, but I'm talking about like 12 people I know.
Okay.
So, it's like, I don't think it's going to be enough to be quiet. I think it's going to require a mea culpa.
Yeah,
You're going to have to say,
absolutely.
I fucked up. And I
calling
learned
it.
from it.
I'm calling it now that fucking bastard's getting reelected.
See, I keep hearing this from people. I can't go with that. It's not going to make me feel better to call
This
it.
is a reflection on how little faith I have in humanity. So,
He lost today. He had to actually cave to pressure, and it's
You
the
don't-
first time.
you don't live where I live, man.
Well, it's true. I don't live where you
Yeah, we
live.
live in a bubble up here, but we still get them. You still see the fucking MAGA hats and the Trump bumper stickers up here.
Yeah, go to fucking Clay Elm.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Yeah.
insane. You drive 45 minutes in any direction outside of Seattle.
Yeah, all you have to go is someplace where people are sparse or are less densely populated, so they're not around as many people, and they don't see as And it's there you go. There's enough of them to have their own scene, so they don't need anybody else. It works pretty much across the board, I think. But no, I think Trump has significant legal trouble on his way.
I hope so.
It's bad. Are you shaking your head no there, John?
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. The Trump Foundation stuff it's going to be a big surprise if he gets away with that.
I just want it to happen.
I'm sure he will.
I just want
I know
it
it
to
takes a
happen.
long time.
I want a big turnover.
It took like 4 years to get Nixon.
Yeah.
We're like a year and a half in.
And
No.
he won by a landslide, even after that shit came out.
But for the re-election of Nixon though, it was only just coming out, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was a different time. And he was
Right, we didn't have
was it
internet.
McGovern or something? Is that what it was?
What is that?
I was trying to remember who he was running against. It wasn't McGovern. Was it like almost a? Oh, no, it was.
Was McGovern 72? Yeah, because Carter was 76, so McGovern was 72. I'm actually basing these based on Hunter S. Thompson books.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Fear and Loathing, the Campaign Trail 72, McGovern campaign, I believe.
I'm trying to remember episodes of Chapo Trap House I listened to. So.
But because Reagan came in 80, which means Carter ran and won in 76, so
Yeah.
McGovern's going to have to be 72.
Was that 80? Was that the one where Carter won like no states?
I think so. It was bad.
Yeah,
He won
got
one,
fucking
I
killed.
think.
Or he got one?
He got
One or
killed,
two.
though. Yeah.
But yeah, I fucking destroyed.
But that's what happens when you have a decent man as president.
Yeah, apparently.
I like that dude.
Carter?
He's my favorite president outside of his presidency. Like
Yeah.
Habitat
Best
for Humanity.
ex-president.
You can look back at some stuff and be like, he wasn't perfect. Nobody is, and I'm a fucking Democrat all the way, or a liberal all the way. So, but looking at like when I was alive, I remember Carter, and I remember Clinton, and then Obama. So those are my three references.
You would remember Gore, but that election was also stolen.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think Jimmy Carter, what a fucking fantastic person for going out and like, Habitat for Humanity. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
You got other dickwads that ain't doing shit. On
If you
both
do something like that, I
on
guess
both
you get-
sides of the party. I'm not saying
I'm not
And-
too worried about both sides right now. We're so off kilter.
I
Fuck
just
the
think
other
it's fucking
side.
wonderful. He got destroyed in the election. Nobody voted for him, and he's like, "Cool, man. I'm still gonna do some rad shit."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
They made him get rid of his peanut farm, and then Trump's get all his fucking hotels.
Right.
He
I
did
know,
bring
right?
the speed limit down to 55. I'm
Hey.
bummed about that.
Hey, those hotels are just physical locations,
Yeah.
They won't stand forever. I'm not suggesting anything.
Fuck, I am, dude.
So real quick, what I want to get John and Murph's.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Songs.
Yeah, what's your favorite one to play or whatever?
Control was always fun to play.
It's fun to watch people when we played that one.
Yeah.
Because you kind of just like hang back and kind of watch it happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess you're more Some of these songs might be different for you because you're more participatory.
Yeah.
You got people jumping off your fucking back.
You know the riff that I love that we never really played out much live,
Sync.
which is
Yeah.
the sync riff. That riff rules. Pin.
That song's sad. Oh, yeah, that is good. Has a kick and bass break in the middle.
So cool.
Do.
Michael Anthony, dude.
Wait, oh no, that's not sync.
That's not sync. That's Noose.
Oh, it's Noose.
But
Noose
there
was
is-
great. Noose was.
I think in Sync, I think there's one part where you like do 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 do.
Oh, yeah,
But it's like a Michael Anthony where there's like no, it's just an E all the way through.
Fuck yeah.
Just gotta ride that with your. Yeah. What about you, Mur?
Yeah, I don't know. I think as far as songs go, I'm with you. I think Cedar, just being fucking staunch atheist,
Yeah.
and but to play, I think the song I like to play, I have the most fun playing is probably Taken. That's just a fun, at least on the drums. That's a fun one to play.
Is that the one you wrote when I hit the headstock against the
Yeah.
bed frame?
Yeah. No one wants to talk about that.
Huh?
And somebody must have talked about that on the podcast.
I don't think so. That doesn't sound
Would you like to
something
hear
I
the
know.
origin of Taken?
Yeah.
Go for it. But-
Well, I don't remember exactly. It was when we were practicing in the U District house.
yeah, the Rat House.
The Rat House.
The Rat House, yeah.
Where?
The Rat House.
You never went there. Yeah.
Was it snowing out in North Bend, buddy?
Oh, man, I told Shane. I told Shane
You
about
got
when-
me good though. I was like, "What are you talking about? You've been to my house."
I told Shane about when we went out to go find you at North Bend and we were there and you were walking up the front door. Like, you went crunch, crunch, crunch.
There was fucking snow before you shut up.
My favorite fucking snowing in North Bend story is when you didn't.
Point one.
No, dude, when you didn't show up for dinner with the three of us.
This was recent. This was fucking recent.
Who wants to tell this story?
Oh my god! So this was like Was this 2009 when we played? I think it was 2009 when we played at
Corazon, right?
Aero Corazon with Converge. And so it's like my last night I'm flying back.
The Unbroken.
Yeah,
That one?
I think so. And so we're gonna go out to dinner. Like I can't make it. And so we're going to the Thai restaurant on Capitol Hill. There's some Thai restaurant. Who the fuck comes in to dinner at the same time? Not with us. This motherfucker.
Oh, and the best part.
Wait,
was
so
that-
John used to, just so everyone knows, John used to always say he couldn't go places because it was snowing in North Bend.
Yeah,
Yes.
but we'll get back to. I gotta finish
There's
this.
a lot out there, dude. The mountains.
We show up to dinner and we're like, oh, John, it's fucking must have been snowing in North Bend, buddy, you know. And the hostess was like, oh, you know him? Because he's with a group of people, and he's like, she was like, you know him? Would you like to pull a table up? And we're like, no, we're gonna get our own table, but we want the one right next to his table. And so the three of us like basically sat down, turned our backs, and we're like, so it's really great to see you in town, Merv. You know, I'm gonna miss you so much, Damien. And we left John out of it for a little while.
Oh, wow.
Pick your battles.
Oh man!
Holy
If you just
shit.
done a little bit of research, you could have avoided that. Where are you guys going anyway, man? Oh, I'm gonna totally miss out. Fuck, we gotta go somewhere else.
Yeah, that kind of blew my mind too, because we all had plans to meet there, and then you're like, I can't go, but you end up going to the same restaurant. Like if you had just gone to another restaurant, we'd have never known. You know, but that's cool, man. That's cool. We're all here now.
It makes for a good story
A lot
later.
of stress. A lot of stress. Putting that show together.
I understand.
Thanks.
So you were like, I just don't want to see them anymore.
Huh?
You s-
Oh, I was done. Get it over with. Get out.
After all of that, you guys still want to play together.
Yeah, of course. I guess.
Oh, so the you district thing. Oh, it was just silly. There was one night where
Oh, hey, how the song came about.
the song came about. I was talking with Murph and Mark, and I had some like just silly little idea. But while I was talking, I got kind of excited, and I sort of swung my body, and my bass went over and banged, like sort of banged against a bed frame, and I kind of just like stopped paying any attention to either of them, and just kind of like kept banging my bass against the bed frame. And I think after a few seconds, Mark like, "What were you gonna say?" I was like, "Oh, we should just do like this," and like that was the start of the song. But I was easily distracted back then.
And it made you crazy.
I remember him doing it. I thought that I was like, oh, dude, that actually sounds cool. The
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like bending the neck against the bass frame, so that bass would be like woo, woo. And yeah, he stopped talking to us and just kind of focused in on it. Like, wow, like, you know, it sounds like a ghost or some shit. And I think at that point it was like, yeah, one of us grabbed it, or one of the three of us was like, oh, dude, actually do, and then that just came like, just where's this riff gonna go? And then I just started going do, and then I just.
And then we wrote the other riff, and then we're done.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man.
At Both Ends was awesome too.
Yeah, that was
Live.
I think the one that really gets me off, I love when we would do reunions. Or, I mean, we did it on tour a bunch too. Was we'd start out with Pin. I really like getting that fast one out of the way, and just the beginning drums of
Like no talking, just going into
fuck yeah, you know. As Murph would say, "It's gonna go murder people." No, that's No, I was just curious because I was
it. Oh, that's a good question. What's your favorite, Dave?
I'll throw a curveball at you.
Ooh.
No, well, okay, so as a person in the crowd, I'm experiencing your band, you know, that way. So obviously I love Stalemate. What are you gonna do? I mean, that's
a good song.
and Cutting Away. The real, like, you know, sing along participation things. And when I talk to people, you know, from years and years ago, and they talk about those shows, they'll always bring up Cutting Away. And for me, it's always like, Stalemate. But, you know.
Yeah.
But no, when you guys finished recording it.
Hang on. Do you guys remember? Cutting Away. This reminds me. Do you guys remember we go to Europe with Ignite and we play some weird festival in Italy?
oh yeah,
And we ended up playing like I think we played 4 songs, but we played each of those songs like 6 times in a row. Like
Oh yeah, we
Apology.
played. Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
Oh, well, there now you're blowing up my spot. That's
And
what I
so-
was going to talk about.
And we did that because it's like there was like 30 people at this show or something, right? And we're like, oh, whatever, just get up and fuck around, be goofy. And we thought it was hilarious, and it was fun, made it fun. And then after the show, though, and I still feel so bad about this, some like Italian straight edge kid, like he's coming up, he's like, I just wanted Cutting Away. Why couldn't you have just played Cutting Away? I'm like, fuck.
Didn't we get up on Ignite's equipment and play it one more time too?
I don't know. Yeah, you did, but not Cutting Away.
Yeah, we played that Apology song again.
Well, you named it Apology, off of Apple Offense. That's the
your
song.
jam?
Well, so no, when you
That's a good song.
guys finished recording and it was going in to be made, and I'd be listening to the tape at Kinko's in Bellevue when there'd be no one else there, like 4 a.m, and I'd be running around between 3 machines keeping them running. I'd have that thing playing. I'd have the whole record playing, and for whatever reason, just at the end of that song, I'd just lose my mind and like bounce off the fucking copiers and shit because it's just such a cool. And so like after that, a few weeks of that, I was like, oh, that's my favorite song on the record. Like, and I don't even think it's the strongest song on the record, but it just has the part that I liked the most.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, no, that's I wouldn't have
Apology.
wouldn't have thought of that.
What do you guys think the biggest
cool.
mistake we made as a band was? Reprinting the Gatorade shirts, or
What? Like, we're doing that right now. What are you talking about, dude? Putting Buried on the fucking LP and not finishing another song. I fucking hate that song so much. I wish
one?
start
dun, 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 dun.
buried me like I buried you.
Jesus.
Now buried.
So I remember. So I remember.
Isn't that how it goes? Yeah.
Oh my god! So I went out. I flew out to Mandel's and stayed with Mandel for like a week. And it must have been 2005, and we were putting together the layout for the discography.
Yeah.
Like we spent a week doing it, and I remember like, what is this song Buried? And he was like, dude, you don't, what do you mean? And like Mandel was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, I have no idea what fucking song this is. I don't think I've ever heard it before in my life. And like, I had to go sit at his computer and listen to it. And like, I'm like, what the fuck is John saying here? I was like, this doesn't make sense. Is this English?
That song saved us though, because we were gonna break up in Canada, and then we were playing with Strain, and they sort of had the first version of Strain, where it was like 5-piece. They kind of had that vibe, and I think we came back and was like, we had a good show at the Nappy Dugout, and we're like, okay, let's see if we can write new stuff. And that was right when you joined the band, and that was the first song we wrote. And I think it was, in my head, it was influenced by the shit we saw Strain doing.
Yeah.
That first 3-song
So-
Strain demo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can-
but once that LP, we had a time crunch where we had to go in the studio, and I remember thinking, I don't want that song on the fucking record, but we don't have any other songs. In fact, I don't think we would have put Pin and Instinct on the record. We just ran out of material in that time frame, because those we like those songs, but we weren't trying to like keep cutting away on every fucking record. We wanted a whole new record, and we just ran out of time.
Yeah, you know, so
My recollection.
biggest mistake, in my opinion, it was when we finished recording at both ends, and Clint was like, I'm not happy with this. I want to re-record the whole thing, and I won't charge you guys. Do you guys remember that?
Wow.
Vaguely.
And I just remember being exhausted, and I hated every second of recording that record for whatever reason. And I was like, I don't want to do it. We're done. I don't want to do it again. And to this day, I'm like, I just wish we had taken the time to re-record it, because I fucking hate the way things sounds.
Yeah. I'm not really happy about the guitar tone, but I don't think there's a record that I'm on where I'm like, yeah, dude, my guitar tone is the fucking shit. It always bugs me. Or you hear somebody else's guitar tone, especially back then, like that. Stalemate was the M80, and then I think for the LP it was a Marshall 800 and an M80 dual. Mm-hmm. Two different guitars, and we blended together, because that's what he did for Strain. And then we got to the fucking not Twin Reverb, what's the fucking Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier, yeah. And I thought that was the shit, and I listened to it now, I'm like, that fucking sounds horrible. I go on with Shift, and just about everything I've recorded, I'm like, I fucking can't stand it.
Yeah, I'm the kind of the same. But there are two recordings I've done, that where I'm like, I dig my drum sounds. There's only two, and one is the Helm, the 7-inch that recorded in Tacoma, like in 5 hours, and the drums sound dirty as fuck, but I love them. Like, I actually love the way those drums sound. And then the other is, I think Cast the First Stone, their Ensign record.
Oh,
The second
record.
actually, I take it back. The 9-iron demo. I had a rectifier, and you were playing a Marshall Tube something. That one I still listen to, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
You wrote some good songs for that one, man.
That was good. I don't even have I lost a recording of it.
Oh, I got somewhere.
Yeah, I know I can. My iPod broke, and I don't even have a computer anymore. So I just need to get a computer, and I can swap all my music that was on the computer over. So it's not a big deal.
Mistake?
Oh. Should have went to practice more.
Not learn how to drive. And
Don't say it again. He'll have to listen to it on the podcast.
Oh,
No.
I didn't even hear it.
Okay, it's gonna be in there. Don't.
Not if you didn't came.
No, wait a minute. Since I don't know what it is, because I was trying to make a joke about this now, should I leave it in?
Yeah, 100%.
No, there's no repercussion that'll come from it.
No.
You're gonna have fun, dude. You got something to listen to.
Always the joke.
No, we're all part of this one. Not Damien, but we're,
Yeah, Damien's not.
Oh, okay, then I know what you said.
You get $100 if you fucking figure this out right now.
How did I miss it? I didn't even know you said anything.
Yeah, I don't have.
Played my bass parts.
No. There was one or two songs, but you were there. That wasn't a secret.
I don't know.
No, that was God, I can't remember the name of that fucking song. There was a couple where I think, but you were in the studio.
The song on the Words to Live By, Words to Die, that song.
No, it would have been the fucking.
What
What
song?
song is that?
I like that song.
What song?
Yeah, okay,
Wait.
that because that was the song I was thinking of, or it's off that.
Hidden.
Oh,
Hidden.
no, because
Oh my
Joel was
God.
singing by then.
Oh, okay, no.
No, Joel was.
Yo, we recorded that.
I thought that was Joel.
We
I have
recorded
no
that
regrets.
Reciprocal.
Yeah,
Everything was
Hidden.
great.
That was the one in Ballard.
I did.
yeah, you were playing
So I
bass.
remember I brought in Best Wishes, and I was like, I just want my drums to sound like Petey Hines right here. Just fucking make it happen.
No, I think the thing he's talking about was there's photos of it. Me playing bass. It was the Undertow first demo. Mm-hmm. I think there were a couple tracks where I ended up playing
Yeah,
the
because
bass
I didn't
on
know
it.
what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
Still don't. What'd you say? What'd you say, dude?
If you come to dinner with us tonight,
I'm treating.
Oh
fuck yeah, then we'll tell you at dinner.
I'll tell you right now.
Nope.
Assholes.
No, dude, you should be able to figure this one out, man.
Yeah.
Can't figure out fucking
What?
yesterday.
What's one thing the three of us have in common? That's well known. As,
Alita Hoops?
You got it, brother.
Still don't know.
The Hoopster.
There's a friend
A friend.
A friend
Oh,
you all
haven't
had.
heard.
That's cool.
I don't know. Don't know. Last time I saw her was right before I moved to New York, I think.
Your
She
phone's
was
on
in
military time.
LA.
That's cool.
Huh?
Going to law
Your
school.
phone's on military time.
Yeah, 24-hour, man.
Nice.
AM, PM, that's fucking bullshit.
What's that have to be
Shit,
in
man.
you going to practice more? Because I was hanging out with her?
No. Well, you were.
True.
I mean,
Wouldn't
I
you?
yeah. And until you fucking cock blocked me, yeah.
How did I cock block you?
Oh, brother.
I was just hanging out at the movie theater.
Dude.
I was hanging out at the movie theater.
Man, you've even told me you did.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. I had an opportunity, man. He fucking swooped in. Good on you, though, man.
Yeah.
She was just a friend from ours from high school, and
Oh, yeah.
a bunch of us worked with her, and she came out to shows.
Sure.
Super cool chick, man.
I probably would remember if I saw a picture of her.
Well, no, going through that photo album, you can look. This is super cool, but you look in the crowd, and it's like, there's fucking Lenny, there's
Nice.
Cruz, there's Greg. You know, you can see people, and then people that me and Murph went to high school with, I see those people in the photos. Like, we were talking about Seth and
Freddie.
Carrie, or in...
Oh, sorry.
So, that's cool.
Awesome. So, guys,
This might be one.
so what? What are we going to leave them with?
Nothing.
Oh, yeah, thanks, man.
That's it. You played the last song. There's nothing more.
I can't really think of anything. I got the topics out that I wanted to ask in a group setting of, like, what was your favorite song? We got to talk about the Bremerton thing.
I don't know if we ever talked about this. Why'd you guys raise your fingers when you were ready to play?
It's just a sign that I'm ready to
Ready
play.
to go.
Never seen anybody else do that, though.
I stole it from somebody, but I'm not saying who.
You're not going to say who?
Yeah. Well, because I'm not friends with the person. This person fucking hates my guts 100%, and I deserve for this person to hate my guts. Like, I did something that was like, yep.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. I'll totally talk about it, not on the fucking podcast, but
Right.
his band did it, but his band never meant shit, never did shit. No, I mean, just straight up, dude. I'll tell you the fucking name of the band, and if
No,
you're like,
don't.
I've heard of them.
Don't even.
Oh, I'm not doing that on the
Okay.
on the cast at all.
Right.
But if you heard the name of the band, there's no way you've ever heard of this fucking band.
It was from the crowd. That was always something that was cool too, because it was like then you'd be looking for the person who didn't have their finger up. You'd be like, "It's about to happen."
I think one of the other things I really get off on, like, I want that minute minute of like feedback before we go. So that's another good indicator when like I look up and those guys are like, dude, stop it. You know, like let's fucking play, Mark. Then I'm like, okay, word up.
Okay, I'll give you guys criticism. It's not criticism, but it's just one place where the only time I think I ever went, oh man.
I got.
This is always a nice way.
Incense.
What's that? No, I love the incense. I love the incense.
That
Was
mean
fine.
Damien never had tuners? We had to tune off each other? Is that your beef?
Or was it
That was a big
No, you used to play an intro
Oh yeah.
called Heavy Duty.
Heavy duty.
Was that what it was called?
Well, you're talking about the Sick of It All thing that you guys talked about, right?
I don't know.
Well, Heavy Duty's fucking.
No, so we probably have got over this in
It's a
another
Spinal
podcast.
Tap.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
That's Big Bottom. Oh no, it
Duty.
is Heavy Duty.
Heavy Duty rock and roll.
Well, I think it was a joke, but you used to play like you used to have like an Undertow intro.
Oh, like the one at the beginning of
Torn
My
Apart.
Enemy or whatever?
Of what?
My Enemy.
So
I
like,
guess so. But remember, and I remember, I think the last time maybe I ever saw you guys do it
first
was
first demo. I think
would
it
have
on
been-
Damien's got it.
My Enemy, the split with Resolution.
there? Okay, yeah.
But I don't know if it ever got recorded.
Dun.
Oh, is that right? Oh, maybe it is. I think you guys did it at the OK Hotel show, like the Poison Idea one.
that
and that might have been
that
one of
was
the
early-
last.
Yeah, we stopped playing that.
Yeah, I don't think it certainly didn't survive past James being in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ever did it with me, it was like as a joke.
But
Well, we had to do it. In
but I
Belgium
liked it.
because We got
But you
tricked
like-
I was a big
Yeah.
fan of you guys back then. I really enjoyed that. Like I always thought that was kind of fun.
Remember that when we went over to Europe and they were like, you got to play all the old stuff, even the
Yeah.
demo stuff, because people might not know the new stuff.
Oh my
so
god! And so
that's the biggest mistake we
yeah,
made.
that
Like 2 shows of
we
playing.
fucking play
Look
all
before
the
you leap.
old shit, and everyone's just like looking at us like, what the fuck
Yeah.
are these assholes playing?
That and playing Burning Fight as a cover. Remember?
Oh god.
Talking about that last night.
Yeah. Jesus.
Probably should have let that one alone.
Yeah, we played into that fucking shit show. Ruined it for everybody.
All
What's
right.
your favorite show you played? That we played.
I don't know, man.
I think
One
that
for me is the Shea Cafe when we got back together,
the night
and
before
all of
the-
our friends were there.
Hell of
Yeah.
a show.
That was awesome.
That was a great one.
Hell of a
That
show.
was an incredible
that
show.
first California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first night.
Before the showcase show.
Yeah, we're
That one was awesome too. Though.
Wait, showcase? You mean
Pomona.
Pomona?
Pomona.
Yeah.
The Glass House.
Glass
That's what it
House.
was.
I was gonna say Pomona is one of my favorites, but it's so hard. I played like shit. Like I've heard a live recording of that, and I was just tossing my guitar around the entire fucking show. It was these 3 holding it down. You listen to that, and it's like, holy fucking shit! I don't want people to hear it. It's so fucking bad. But you look at the photos and shit, and it's like,
Incredible.
yeah, we had a lot of fun, but I did not play well at all. In fact, I'll go back and listen to a lot of Undertow stuff, dude. I was like always out of tune, and so, like all these videos that come out are like cringe-worthy for me. You know, like I mean, it's fun, and we got a great compliment from Nate from Converge. He was like, "You guys are the best thrash band I've ever fucking seen." And he's like, "I hope you take that as a compliment, but you're not the tightest." And I was like, "Yeah, no, actually, I think you summed that up really well with live performances. I got these 2 guys that are tight as fuck, but I'm sloppy as shit, and I can go back and be like, Magic Mike's, man, I know I played good there." And somebody posted it, and I'm like,
But I'm surprised no one said that show because that's an incredible show.
That's up there.
I remember that.
Just like what you're saying about yourself, I feel that entire like that. I feel like I didn't know how to play the drums at all the entire time I was in Undertow. You know what I mean? And it's just like every fucking show is like I fucked up so many times, hated it. It's like I gotta get better. I gotta get better. And then like when I went on the road with Ensign, like it was like more like this machine. You know what I mean? And like I just learned to play like a fucking like a wind up Armand doll. You know what I mean? And you know, but I got to play with like those guys every night, and so it's like I just got to like study, and like I just like then I finally like I got into this groove where like I can actually play. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so when we came back and we got back together and we played like the Shea, I felt like now I'm a real drummer and I'm doing Undertow again. Wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's like my perspective on it. Like I think the whole time I played in Undertow, I was like, it's the worst fucking drummer on the planet. You know? I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, I didn't think that
One of
either.
the best.
"You're nuts."
I don't know if I mentioned, but I mean, I think going back to like regrets and talking about some of this, like I wish we had just written more. Like I wish I knew like how easy we had it then, as far as like, you know, not having kids or wives or anything. We could just kind of do whatever the fuck we want. Like we could have practiced like 3 times a week, like I did in bands later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why the fuck do we practice like all the time? Because it's super fun, and we were always hanging out together too. Like, we could have just wandered downstairs and played more. But I think we're just having such a good time. It was like, do you want to go? I was like, yeah.
Some of the other things I think about too, like if we're gonna start writing again, I've got some ideas that I wanted to bring because there were songs that we wrote in the practice space. There were songs that we showed up with, or like an idea. I don't know what I'm getting at. Going down, like I don't always remember us going down and just jamming. Mm-hmm. There was an idea of like let's play a fast song, or so we would try to work it out, and there were songs like Taken came just naturally. There were other songs that came out just naturally, and jamming, we'd have a riff, and then we could easily build into a second riff and then a bridge. That all happened, but I don't remember us being like a jam band. So sometimes we didn't practice.
We didn't practice. We have a show. We got to practice. We have a show coming up, and then there'd be other times where you're like, "Hey, dude, check out this riff." I just go over and hang out. You had something on the acoustic guitar.
Yeah, but other times it'd be like, "I don't have fucking anything. What do you got?" You'd be like, "Well, I got this idea," or "I don't have anything." So there were dry spells, and a lot of those songs, I feel like it was like 4 practices before we finished a song. Like the lead up to the LP and trying. I didn't want Barry to be on it necessarily, and I didn't want to redo songs to fill in, but we just couldn't write. I don't think it was a time. I agree with what you're saying. I just think there were times where we didn't write.
Right, and I mean, I'm looking back on it, with a filter of not having any memory of what it was like to be at that time. I mean, we had jobs too, and getting to Seattle from Bothell wasn't always easy for me. Yeah, it's weird to be like, hey, can you come drive from U District to Bothell?
Well, then at a certain point, we were practicing Magic Mike's. We practiced at Murph's.
Yeah,
so it was tough getting around. I guess. I don't even, I look back at that and I'm like, one of you guys must have drove me every fucking time out to Murph's. I didn't have a car. I don't know how I got to fucking practice.
Yeah, you probably picked him up. Remember once I was supposed to go. Was it a practice that I drove off a cliff, or was it?
What?
I remember going out to Murph's one point, and I was like, was I late for a practice when I drove off that cliff?
What?
I had my little white Chevette, and I remember I was driving from Bothell out to Merce, and I'd go through these back roads in Bothell that are real windy. And at one point, I just kind of went over the ledge of a road. Like, I didn't turn. I wasn't, like, distracted by phones or anything, because we didn't have anything like that. I think I just fucking went for it and ended up down the bottom of this big, like, cliff hill thing, and I had to have this truck, like, drag me out of there. So I was, like, an hour late, and I think there was, like, branches and shit still hanging out from underneath my car.
So that just reminds me.
I thought you were delivering pizzas then, and it happened.
Oh no!
Or were you doing it on the way to practice?
I was on the way to somewhere, but I did actually drive off the road when I was delivering pizzas once too.
Oh my god! So I was, I don't live here anymore, and I come back and I like see all this shit, and it's like, the city looks totally different. But I go up north, to where my parents live, and I'm like, it looks a little different, but the roads are all the same. I'm like, oh my god, like deja vu, right? All this shit. And so yesterday I was driving by Steve O'Malley's house, and I looked down the road. I actually stopped, and that's the road. And I'm like, so do you remember this?
I do.
I was working at the Crest, and I had my shift coming up. Rocker Steve O'Malley was finishing his, so I was going to give him a ride home and go back to work. And he lived on this road in like Lake Forest Park that was like a quarter mile just straight, and so everyone would speed down it. And I'm like in my mom's like shitty like Nissan Sentra, and I'm like, we're listening to Slayer, we got it fucking cranked. And I know the song too, and it sticks out for a reason. And so I'm like fucking like, it's 25 mile an hour speed limit. I like going like 85. And all of a sudden, it's like this hairpin turn to the left. The sign's like caution, 15 mile an hour, and there's a house. So I'm like, shit, I lock up I lost track of where I was on the road.
Oh, Jesus.
I slam on the brakes. I'm like, I'm going into that house unless I just turn off into the ravine. So split second decision. I turn the car to the right. I go off this cliff, rolled the car down a ravine, landed right side up. And, like, the car's dead, but post-mortem is blasting on the stereo.
I thought it was mandatory suicide.
No, it was post-mortem. I remember.
Best story.
And I'm just like, I calmly just, like, turn the fucking radio off and look over. The roof's caved in, the windows are gone. And I look, and Steve's just, like, looks at me, and I'm like, dude, are you all right? And he's like, yeah, I think so. Are you? And I'm like, I am for now. Because I'm like, dude, my fucking dad's gonna kill me, right? And so we literally we have to climb out of the car, climb up this fucking ravine. It's like Seattle, so it's like a fucking rainforest. And I'm like covered in ferns and mud. And we have to walk the rest of the way to Steve's house so I could fucking call my dad and be like, yeah, I fucking rolled the car down a ravine, dude. And I had to call out from my shift at the Crest. It was like a fucking nightmare.
How come I've never heard that story before?
Oh,
Really?
man.
Oh man, I love that story.
yeah, the best is I'm on Instagram, Steve O'Malley, he posted some story and he was playing post-mortem and I just remember we rolled the car.
And the way you described it to me too, where they're you fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Needled a thread.
Oh, yeah.
Thread
There,
in the needle.
so, there were trees on both sides.
Yeah. I went right through him, man. It was I fucking, dude, I nailed that landing. It was like the triple
an inch
Lindsay.
this way, an inch that way. We don't have a fucking drummer. You know? Sono doesn't have a fucking guitar player.
That's right.
Yeah.
So my fucking good driving has saved us.
Oh yeah.
That is the takeaway from that story.
Dude, the best was the fucking tow truck driver shows up, pulls the thing out of this ravine, and he's like, you're fucking lucky I don't have to call state troopers. They just changed the law, for I guess if you rolled a car, you had to call the state troopers, a state law. But it changed. He's like, I don't have to call the police. I'm like, good. See you later. And my dad shows up, and my dad fucking drove that car back to my house. Shit. No windows. He's just hanging out. All right.
Wow.
So good. That's good.
Oh, dudes. That's fantastic. I think that's a good way to go out.
I think so.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, you guys, for coming out.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Dave.
thanks,
It's
Dave.
awesome.
And Damien, we got to do another one of your. John was making fun of your multiple appearances, so
8 times.
we got to do a catch up so we can talk politics.
More than great.
Good night. Oh. Okay, that was awesome. That was as great listening to while I was editing as it was when we first recorded it. I really, really enjoy hanging out with those guys. Had so much fun. Talked about a lot of stuff. I want to go over just a couple things real quick. I have no idea, honestly. I'm going to find out tomorrow the status of this project band that they talk about doing. I don't know. They may have nixed the idea, or it may just be put off for the future. I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be a band of the members of Undertow. I'll always have my fingers crossed. I'll always hope it'll happen. But I haven't really heard anything since we recorded this episode, so we'll find out. I kind of feel like no news wasn't good news, but we'll see. The other thing I'm going to say is we talk about some photos. I had Mark's photo album. He left 2 photo albums of pictures that he saved over the years. And there were some great photos in there. The famous Brian Hill kickboxing lesson in his backyard. That photo's in there. And Carrie Voller playing bass with her Fuse at Washington Hall. That's in there. I was not able to find anywhere the We Got Your Hat, Your Heads Next thing that gets talked about. I looked through all the copies of Ron's old zines that I had, and as near as I can tell, they're all from before that tour. And talking to Murph about it a little bit, he thinks it was in an Overkill ad. So I actually went and tried to find all my old Maximum Rock and Rolls, and I no longer have anything before 1993 from Maximum Rock and Roll. So I believe that this We Have Your Hat, Your Heads Next thing that Ron was involved in, I believe that is somewhere in an Overkill ad from that anti-hardline time. So if anyone has that, please contact me. Send me a photo of it. I'd love to put it up on this page even retroactively. Couple of corrections I'm going to do real quick. Near the end, I say, I think Trump has significant legal troubles on the way, or something like that. As of this recording, I'm doing right now in August of 2019. That has not yet happened. I do hope in the end this is not a correction, but rather just a situation caused by a delay. We'll see. And at one point near the end of the recording, a name is said quietly that some of us don't catch. And they say, oh, you'll hear it when the podcast gets played back. But unfortunately, the name was a casualty of our recording setup. It was said too far away from the microphone, and it wasn't picked up at all. Otherwise, I would have amplified that thing so that we could have had that fun listening to the podcast being played back. But it doesn't really matter because the name gets exposed in the course of the conversation. You heard it. You know we're at the end of the thing, so you already heard it. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I've got more coming. This is the last one I have in the can. I'm going to do a special episode next, and then I'm going to start figuring out what my time frame is for getting some new recordings and moving this thing forward. There should be some more. You know, I never make promises, but I make them all the time. So, yeah, there'll be more. Whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. Just subscribe. It'll show up when they get done. It'll load into your iTunes. How does it work now? They got rid of, is it Apple Podcasts? They changed stuff. I'm not even sure. To be honest, everything changed since the last time I uploaded an episode. So I'm hoping I'm just going to be able to upload this thing and you're going to be able to hear it, but we'll find out. You know, people keep making changes and I keep getting older. I'll deal with it. All right. Until next time, thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll talk to you later.
This podcast is a product of the Nobody's Knows Podcast Network. Executive producers, David R. Larson and K. Drake Streetman. Music for this episode is provided by Polymorph from the album Artifacts, Demos and Debris.